Don't deceive me when I tell you that just ain't the way it seems. Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love when I tell you, you are the queen of my heart? Please don't deceive me when I tell you that just ain't the way it seems. Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love, my love buzz? My heart. Please don't deceive me when I tell you that just ain't the way it seems. Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love
But I'm going to try to get Bruce to just jump up onto my knees right here. Come on, jump up here. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Come on, Bruce. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. I knew you could do that. I knew you could do that.
Orcas in Alaska come to say hi.
Dude. Whoa, dude. Mouth shut. Oh my god, you guys. Whoa. Oh my god.
Oh goodness. All right, all right. Holy crap. My beauties and bees, good morning. Um yeah, that was I mean, he was totally asking for it. Did you see that? Is this working? Am I coming in the wrong mic? I'm coming in the wrong mic. Hold on. We gotta switch this because that's gonna drive me crazy. I don't know why it keeps switching like that. It's annoying. There we go. That should have fixed it. That should sound better now. Yes, okay. Sorry about that. It's being so weird. I did like an update, but y'all know I'm terrible with this technology. Anyway, good morning. Good morning, my hive. Good morning, my beauties and my bees. Hello, everybody who is showing up to hang out. Oh my gosh, Ryan's doing bananas. Your hair looks fairy tale-ish. Well, I am talking about unicorns today. So, it's perfect that my hair looks fairy tale-ish. Yeah, so my unicorn Brittany will be hanging out with us, but she's not going to be sitting in the way of my amazing tits. So she's going to be like, go over here. Yeah, doesn't my hair look good? I love this hair. Look at that. So pretty and so full. Look how full it is. Oh, but it's tangled in my necklace back here. Of course it is. That's bound to happen with big full hair like this, though. Thank you. All right. Well, good morning. I've been. It's been a wild week. We got a new dog in the house. Bo got little puppers. I named him Hank. So we got Hank and Henry in the house. And they are, Hank is pretty small. He's a little brown guy. But he's a cutie pie. But I've been spending more time with my stepdog, Nyla. This is the girl I've been seeing. I've been spending a lot of time over at her place. I know it's cutting into my time with you guys, but yeah, it's nice to have a real person who's there I can touch. It's nice. If you all would come touch me, I wouldn't. If you all would come touch me, I wouldn't need it. But you all won't come touch me. Touch it, touch it, touch it, touch me. Yes, Hank is short for Henry. Huh? You call witchcraft. It is witchcraft. I'm a witch. Look at me. Is this not witchy enough for you? I can put on my my hip-high boots, and I can put on my cloak with my hooded cloak. This is a dress, by the way. Look how cute this dress is. Yeah, more over here. Look at this. Isn't it adorable? I always gotta show off my fit when I'm wearing something cute. And actually hear Henry back there complaining about something. Somebody must have walked by with a dog outside or what, something. He's not barked since Hank's got here hardly at all because he's been so excited. Excited to see the boy. Uh-huh. Alright, let's head out to the polls. Let's see here. Ba ba da ba 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 da da. No, not that one. Don't we want this one? Yeah. That's the one we want. That's the ticket. There we go. Alright. Oh yeah. We have a store too. So if you want Cryptic Corner merch, it's right here. You can go right here from the main page. Just store. These aren't all of them though. There's more Cryptic Corner shirts, and also we have I have Brie anime shirts. So just like I had filtered my my pictures through like an anime filter thing, and put them on a t-shirt. They're kind of cute. Maybe I'll show you guys that sometime. But Brittley got one, and it looks super cute. So if you want a t-shirt, you want socks with pride moths on them. Yeah, if you want a shirt with Mothman, Bigfoot, Dogman, Jersey Devil. I think there's an alien now too. Come out here. Okay, let me clear my throat because I got a cold. Sorry about that. I didn't know if I was going to do the show this morning or not last night when I went to bed. I'm still feeling crappy. I mean, it's got to be blunt with you. I'm still feeling it, but I'm still going to try to get through this day. Hopefully I'm not fevery. But I digress, because I'm always digressing. You notice that? I digress a lot. Let's go to the polls. Behold the cryptid compass. Got lots of... There's my art from this week. One of my favorite pieces. Yes, this Cthulhu is inspired by Zoidberg. This is Zoidberg Cthulhu. And he's housebreaking this kaiju, which is like a Godzilla. But, so on This Week in Weird... the options we had were the mastering hydrokinesis. We're going to do the same thing like we did with the candles when we did pyrokinesis, but we're going to do it with like a thing of water. We're going to try to get it to swirl and spin and stuff and see what we can do. Like probably by blowing on it and shaking the table underneath it is probably what it's going to come down to, but we'll see what happens when we actually do that one. Then we have had mastering martial or mystical martial arts, which is going to focus strongly on Aikido, because holy crap, that's there's a lot of nonsense to that, right? And then we had a tie for first place, which were the Bells of Tartaria, which was the new one, or the second newest one after the martial arts one, about the metaphysical bells that were used in Tartarian technology. And then we had the Lost Dragon Fleet of Zheng Ha. I think that's how you say it. And other, it's not just going to be that. That's just I like that saying that Zheng Ha is in the Lost Dragon Fleet. It sounds cool. It sounds like a movie, like epic. But it's we're going to talk about. I guess the best way to put it is Chinese pre-Columbian contact. Conspiracy theories and stuff. So that's later on in the show, though. We are going to be doing that, so stick around for that. And we're also going to talk about that Lost Dragon Fleet. Now, before we get to any of that, though, we got Cryptic Corner, and Cryptic Corner is where it happens. That's what this show's all about. That's the cornerstone. That's the foundation of everything I do here. And again, we had a tie, but this time it was a tie for third place between a globsta, which I don't know if you know what a globsta is. They're big masses of flesh, fat, and bones that wash up on beaches that are unidentified. And then we have the pale crawlo, sort of like the rake. Yeah, the rake is probably the quintessential pale crawler. But we're going to cover them all. And Amityville is still on here for our ghost content. I think it's the longest that anything's been on here for ghost. Last time I had the ghost stuff, it just went boom, boom. It was the Phantom Hitchhiker, and I can't remember what that one was before that, but just like one after the other, again, they won the polls. But people aren't as stoked for Amityville. But I think Amityville's interesting, and I want to debunk it because I enjoy debunking Amityville. But the winner, not a chicken dinner, but a unicorn dinner, because we're hunting unicorns. Yes, Brittany, we're going to feast upon your kind. You're going to have to find a way to deal with that. But that's what we're doing for Cryptic Corner today. We're hunting unicorns, and it's going to get, it may get somewhat redundant because a lot of unicorns. You keep voting for Amityville. Did Columbus go to China? No, but he came to the New World, and the theory is that the Chinese reached the West Coast before Europeans reached the East Coast. That's the theory. There's a whole bunch of videos I have to put together on it. We'll see how it goes, though. I like pre-Columbian contact conspiracies. I also like doing the Antarctic one. Do y'all remember that when I did the Antarctic conspiracy about the contact in Antarctica, or the both the Polynesians and the Telefuegans reaching Antarctica or sub-Antarctic islands? You know, but we'll talk. We'll reference back to that when we get to that segment of the show. After all this, if you're still with me, we're gonna be looking at the New Zealand's quintessential species, the Kiwi, for Bree's Bestiary today, and some conservation stuff about them, and just looking at how cool they are. So stick around for that, and if you stay through all of that, then I'm shooting you all over to Dr. Ben's show this morning, where he's going to tackle some pseudoscience coming out of the Ministry of Health, MAHA, out of the Make America Healthy Again people. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, we need to raise funds for Brittany to have some therapy. Brittany, the rainbow unicorn. She's got a rainbow tail. I got this from Valentine's Day last year. It was like on the clearance after Valentine's Day, and me and Bo were in there, and I'm like, oh, I love her lashes. I must have her. So she's mine now. And she sits on my bed most of the time. All right, I will see you guys in Cryptic Corner after these messages from, I don't know what we have. I think it's the X-Men thing. Yeah. After these messages about the transgender menace
to all the folks that are in the audience that consider themselves gender dysphoria, cis, I don't know what all that means. I really don't know what all that means. I'm looking at society today, and it's like I'm watching an X-Men movie with people that, when you watch the X-Men movies or Marvel comics, it's like we have mutants living among us on planet Earth. And, some people don't like that, but that's a fact. We have people that live among us today on planet Earth that are happy to display themselves as if they were mutants from another planet. This is the planet Earth, where God created men, male, and women, female. I'm a proud Christian, conservative Republican. I'm not on the fence.
Senator Radler, what is your appraisal?
I think at best that he's a dangerously ruthless and insensitive political opportunist and demagogue.
And at worst?
He's read far too many comic books.
Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I'm your host, Miss Bumblebee, and today we are entering the magical world of unicorns. That's what the polls wanted, and that's what I am so excited to bring you today. The magical world of unicorns. Now, unicorns like this are sort of a modern phenomenon, right? With the Rainbow Association and all that. The Rainbow Association, of course, being that they're white, so white is all, all the rainbow color spectrum, and of course, even the whiteness of a unicorn is not is more of, and it's less modern than the rainbow, but the rainbow fur, but manes, but the whiteness is definitely a more modern, like moving forward from medieval times. But ancient times, unicorns didn't even necessarily look like horses. It's just what spoilers for what's ahead. It's basically what ancient people through word of mouth described trying to describe what a rhinoceros looks like. It's the same reason why the reason that ancient art of rhinoceroses look like horses with horns is the same reason that ancient art of elephants looks like wild boars with a trumpet nose. It's the same reason, because they didn't know what it looked like, and people said, they describe an elephant like, oh, it's kind of like a pig, kind of like a giant and huge monstrous pig with a long trumpety nose that it can scream out of, and big giant tusk. And they're like, okay, big pig with tusk, and they're writing this stuff down, and they're doing like a sketch artist thing and trying to put it together. Like when you describe somebody to a sketch artist, exactly. So, and the funny thing is that people laugh about, oh well, rhinoceroses and horses are totally different. But no, they're like very closely related. Rhinoceros, horse, and tapirs are all closely related to one another. They're all what we call perseidactyls. There used to be a lot more perseidactyls too. And let me tell you about perseidactyls. They are called the odd-toed ungulates. The odd-toed because they have, whereas pigs, like we were talking about, pigs are artiodactylids, and they have 2 toes. Cows are artiodactyls. Deer are artiodactyls, and they're all close related to each other too. What else? Yeah, bovids, cervids. That's cows and deer. Bovids also, goats and sheep are artiodactyls. Camels. Camels are one of the most diverged artiodactyl because camels don't even really have hooves anymore. They have just like big rubbery pads, which are kind of convergent with elephants that we talked about before, which are not artiodactyls, but pigs were compared to them because of their coats. Yeah, caprids, goats, ovids or sheep, bovids, cows, cervids, deers, camelids, camels, and alpacas, and yeah, those are antelope are also artiodactyls, and giraffes, giraffids, including pronghorns. But we're not talking about artiodactyls. I don't know why I'm listing those all off. But there's the 3 groups of extant perseidactyls. You have the horses, which is horses, zebras, donkeys, all those fun guys. And you have rhinos, where you have the 2-horned rhinos of Africa, and then the 1-horned rhino of India, and then there's 1 2-horned rhino in India that's not really closely related to the other 2-horned rhinos, but it's closer related to them than it is to the 1-horned rhinos. It's really complicated with the rhinos. And they are what we're going to be focusing on today mostly is going to be those 2 groups, the rhinocerids. I don't know if that's the right term for that. I don't think it is. Rhinoceri. How do you say it when you're talking about the clade in plural? That's why I like how the other ones are also uniform. Cervids, bovids, caprids, artiodactyls, all clean and clean cut. It's because we eat so many of them. I think we eat more artiodactyls than anything. It used to be that equids were our main food source as a species. Like if you go back to the middens of humans, at least outside of Africa, in Eurasia, where we did a lot of our expanding and multiplying, horse meat was a prominent source of food for a long time. Basically, in some places it was all the way up until modern times. We had a lot of horse meat. So you'll notice that some of the unicorn lore, with some of the unicorn lore, it talks about eating them or drinking their blood. I loathe to mention Harry Potter. You could probably still frame that and clip it and sell it, but the unicorn blood was essential to the plot in the very first book, because eating horse meat has become taboo, and by extension unicorn meat. But unicorn meat is especially taboo because of the purity aspect of them. But we'll explore a lot of folklore about unicorns in Brittany's people on this playlist. Let's go ahead and I guess I'll end my tangent there, and we'll
Hi guys, Charlie here. Are unicorns real? Some believe they're mythical creatures that don't exist in real life, but these videos may make you think otherwise. Today we'll look at some of the most convincing unicorns caught on camera and spotted in real life.
But this is going to be recurring. I'm just going to get this out of the way right now. I'm not convinced by a horse with a horn on its forehead. When when we worked at Wendy's years ago, me and my squeeze Christy at the time, she was so cute. She worked up front, and she always wore like a high ponytail. She was like gothy and Ariana Grande. But for Halloween, they let us dress up, so I went as like the crow. I had all the crow makeup and stuff on, but she went as this devil, and there was this the horns that she had. We like went to like the reason why our stuff looked so good is we went to like the professional makeup store and went and got all the stuff. Anyway, and she had these kick-ass little horns, and they were it was just a fishing line that you could not see, like as thin as a fishing line, and you just cinched it up, and they stood up, and they were firm, and boom, she had horns. There's no reason why you could not do this with a horse and tuck that line under the hair so it doesn't even reflect light. So a horse with a horn like this does not convince me in any way, shape, or form. Just putting that out there. Flying monkeys. I guess we should do an episode on flying monkeys for Cryptic Corner, huh? Lots of sightings here lately. Do India and Africa share so many megafauna because they used to be habitable climates between the two regions, or because Lemuria gave them Lemuria? Yep. And Lemuria, the problem with Lemuria is that it was smashed in the collision of the Indian subcontinent with the Eurasian plate. It was smashed right in the middle of there. The kingdom Utopia is basically subducted beneath the earth, lost forever, like Numenor in Atlantis. Oh, lost Lemuria. Now Mu is also, it's the same thing. It's named after Lemuria. It's actually the MU from Lemuria, if I'm not mistaken. But generally when they talk about that, they talk about South Pacific. Is often identified with Zealandia. Maybe unicorns were in Zealandia. Maybe they were in Lemuria before it got subducted. But I think, they share, they're a similar eco-region, right? India and Africa. India is almost like a little Africa. Hold on, let's pull up the map real quick. Y'all don't give me no time at all before we get into these maps, do ya? Let's see. We on the map, on the map, on the map, on the map. All right. Unicorn hunting time. See, this belt right here, this green belt, it goes right across India too, and Southeast Asia. So this section here has a lot of similarities from these, because this continent here, this whole section here, used to fit right down here with Madagascar. Actually, Madagascar's crust is closer to this crust than it is to this crust. And Africa's ripping itself in two. This is not important to unicorns, though. I'm getting off topic. But yeah, India does have unicorns. Unicorns come from India, is mostly the lore. So keeping that in mind, because that's where the great one-horned rhino is from, which also looks like it's wearing armor.
As well as a scientific discovery that proves unicorns did exist on our planet, and perhaps still do. We'll also check out some other videos of giant, scary, unexplained creatures caught on camera. Let's get it on.
We're gonna stop before you get to that stuff. We're gonna stop right here where you get to gigantic creatures, because that's the whole unicorn section. It's only 6.5 minutes of a 9.5 minute video of covering actually what it said it was covering. And the thing is, this video isn't like new. It's from 4 years ago, so it's not like AI dropped the ball on creating the title. This person created a objectively deceptive title. Uzbekistan, Ben. All Uzbek, all the time. That was just last night. All Uzbek, all the time. Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is where unicorns come from. Do not forget. Never forget where unicorns come from.
Uzbekistan unicorn. Unicorns have been recorded in history all the way back as far as ancient Greece. But the ancient Greeks did not see the unicorn as we do today. They did not imagine unicorns to be majestic white horses with a single horn on their head. In fact, Aristotle described unicorns as one-horned antelopes. Well, in April of 2016, an amazing discovery was made.
That is not a unicorn. That is a tricorn. These two gentlemen are holding on to horns. Right, there's one. Hold on. I'm not saying this can't happen. This could be a mutation. It could definitely be a mutation. But it's not a unicorn. It's a tricorn. Tricorn. Yeah, I want to see Uzbek all in my chat. Everybody give me their favorite Uzbek word. Is it unicorn? What is the Uzbek word for unicorn? Let's find out. What is the Uzbek word for unicorn? Yagona Shoxley. It's like this. I'm gonna copy and paste it for you guys so you can see. No, those are horns. Seth, the ear, you can see the ear right there. The ear is black. It's right there. And the other ear is black. You can kind of see it, just the edge of it, though, right there behind the horn. You'll see when the cattle starts moving.
In Uzbekistan, Central Asia, what appeared to be the ancient Greek description of a unicorn was caught on camera. In the video, various men are seen holding the animal's horns, showing that they're real. The horn in the center of this animal's head looks...
No one's doubting the horns that they're holding are real. This one in the middle I'm sus about, but I'm not saying it couldn't happen. There's actually species of ram with 4 horns. And there's goats with 4 horns too. And then there's the African unicorn was actually turned out to be the okapi, and it has 2 little ossicones.
Rather devilish, and definitely not like the image of the angelic white Pegasus that we're so used to. The farmer in the...
So I'm calling that a tricorn. I'm not gonna call it a unicorn. Nope. The best Uzbek word. Ots is clearly the best Uzbek word. What would Jason Jacoby say? Tech boy Nizlu at. I don't speak Uzbek at all, and I do not know even what language family it falls into. So I'm just winging it with these pronunciations. I have no idea what I'm saying or if I'm saying anything even remotely clear. They could have grafted the horn on, yeah, or glued it. Even just, I mean, if they just needed it long enough for a short video like this. It's in its wonky angle. It's kind of weird too. But I'm not saying this couldn't happen. It can definitely happen.
Video is recorded saying that the animal is a mutant. That might be a little harsh, but it's clear that
there's nothing. We're all mutants in one way or another. Everybody has mutations. Because most of our mutations don't make us grow a horn out of our forehead. Would you all still love me if I had a big freaking horn popping out of my forehead? I think I would like put nail polish on it, maybe glitter, make it sparkle, make it glam. They call me the Rhino Lady. I could probably join the circus, though. You have a I would like a tricorn hat. Ooh, I did get a new hat. Like, I just got it. Someone's been spoiling me with gifts, so go figure. But yeah, I got a new hat. Look at it. It's my unicorn riding hat. But oh, you know, I always love a hat.
This horn is totally real.
Oh my gosh, they blurred the horn out like it was like something naughty.
That might be a little harsh, but it's clear that this horn is totally real. It's not a prop or CGI. But is this animal a unicorn or something?
It's the horn's real. Like that's a real cow horn, but they could have like somehow attached it to this cow's head, right? Or something physically there. I mean, it might not even be a real cow horn. I don't have any reason to believe it's not.
Something else. Unicorn found in a barn. This video was released in 2011. It shows a unicorn in a barn in Slovenia. The animal looks a lot more similar to the unicorns we're used to seeing in popular culture.
This is the one I was talking about with could have the wire on it, but where did it say it was? It's, Slovenia? That's a kick-ass name for a country. Let me go look. So that's way over here. Slovenia. Isn't that a fun name to say? And when you zoom in, it switches it over because it's telling you their capital, which is Ljubljana. Bree tries to. I could do a whole show saying it's just Bree tries to guess how things are pronounced. And you all can make fun of me, but yeah, on this little peninsula somewhere. Well, I guess it can't be on a peninsula because isn't that Croatia? Isn't that where the border is? Yeah, it doesn't even. I guess it comes down a little bit on the peninsula. I like how Bosnia's like, hey guys, can I have some coastline? And Croatia's like, no. No. We're gonna go all the way to Montenegro. You're not getting any coast, sorry. You can get within eye shot of it. You can get within, like, look at this. Look how close they let them get to the border. Like, oh yeah, you can get where if you get your binoculars out, you can see it. But we're not going to let you have any coast. You have to come into our country and pay the toll if you want to go. And then the border ends, and then you got Montenegro and I believe that's more Croatia. I keep getting off topic, but back to the unicorns.
It's a lot more similar to the unicorns we're used to seeing in popular culture. It's a white horse with a singular horn, although this animal's horn is a lot smaller than the ones we see in storybooks. The horse is locked in a stable owned by a hunter. The hunter apparently found this animal in the wild and decided to keep it. This video is more than a decade old, so the quality is not that great, but a horn can clearly be made out. The hunter...
Yeah, but it could not be a real, like... It could be a real horn even, but it's not out of a horse's head.
Apparently took this animal in because it was concerned that it may be stolen and sold. It's a very common occurrence in Slovenia for wild horses to be stolen and then sold on the black market. It's pretty likely that an animal as rare as a unicorn would be sold for even more, but the status of this animal today is unknown. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe.
Man, I need to fix that Buy Me Coffee link. It got all jacked up. I don't know what's wrong with it. Bugbot, you're dropping the ball. You're embarrassing your mama. Your mama taught you better than that. Come on.
And press the notification bell too. It really does help me out. Scottish unicorn.
Ah, now we're in Scotland. That's where the unicorns come from. I think this, is it the national animal of Scotland? Or is that Ireland? One of the countries in the British Isles has its national animal as the unicorn. I think it's Scotland. No. Bugbot, you behave yourself.
In May of 2016, the most
We're going to
convincing
see this one over and over again.
unicorn footage of all time was captured. Unsurprisingly, this video comes from Scotland. Scotland is the country with the most unicorn sightings. In fact, the unicorn is Scotland's national
animal. There you go. Scotland's national animal.
animal.
You're
And the
supposed to
unicorn
switch to a Scottish accent. Not that mine's very good or anything.
even features on the royal coat of arms of the United Kingdom. In the footage, a man is videotaping this animal from across a field. It's clear that this white majestic animal has a single horn on its head. The man who filmed this said he was shocked at what he was seeing. Without hesitation, he grabbed his camera and began recording. He was so scared that the unexplained creature might run away. If that happened and he didn't catch it on camera...
It is interesting, though, that unicorns are closely... horses are closely related to rhinos. So that if there was something genetically even in them if there was something in their genes for them to express a horn, it probably would be a single horn or two horns lined up vertical like that, not like a artiodactyl where the horns are side by side, but because that's how perseodactyls seem to grow horns when they have horns. Not even all rhinos had horns though. Only some select groups of them. The biggest ones did not have horns.
No one would believe him when he told them what he had seen. This footage has been analyzed by many experts, and even included in major TV documentaries. Do you think that a creature like this could really exist in our world? If you said no, then think again. That's because in July of 2018, an amazing discovery was uncovered in Scotland. Archaeologists found fossils that they believe could have come from a unicorn. The fossils were found in a remote...
Okay, hold on just a second. So this, we've looked at this artist before. We've seen this mummy before. This is one of the Fiji mummy guys that does what's his name? But this is the one from the not the Cabana guy, but the other one, the one from the UK who has the Merlin's Museum or something like that. This necklace having my hair tangled and just driving me crazy. Ah, my elbow. But that's where this one's from. The same place where we looked at the Merlin's Museum of whatever. The guy also has fairies made out of insect parts. Pretty cool stuff.
Fossils that they believe could have come from a unicorn. The fossils were found
in this skull, which we'll see again and again throughout this throughout these segments, is available on Amazon. Yeah, you can go buy it right now for $40. So if you want a unicorn skull to bury in your yard and make fake videos about, it's right here. It's the one everybody else uses.
In a remote region of the Scottish Highlands. They were relatively intact. The body of an animal could be made out.
Oh, that was a Pegasus. I don't know where that picture comes from, though. Obviously, it's not real. It looks like...
They were relatively intact. The body of an animal could be made out. But what really stuck out to the archaeologist... The body of an animal...
See, I missed my keyboard with my play stop commands up there, and it got ruined by a shot of apple pucker. But this reminds me of the angel from the angel fossil from The Simpsons, doesn't it? Except for like the horse unicorn version.
Animal could be made out. But what really stuck out to the archaeologists was a spiraled horn on the animal's head. A similar fossil was also found back in 2016. The world was stunned when archaeologists revealed that a real Siberian unicorn skeleton had been found. But the skeleton looked a lot less pretty than the unicorns we're used to seeing.
And here's the thing about the Siberian unicorn. now we don't think that Elasmotherium had a big horn. They think it had like a big boss, like a club, basically a club, more like a Pachycephalosaurus sort of setup than a monstrous horn like this. It was closely related, or is in the rhino family. It's not really close related to any modern rhinos, but you'll see a lot of people get this confused with the woolly rhino. With the woolly rhino, lived in Siberia too, but it lived for much, much longer and much, much later into modern times. They still find woolly rhinos intact. You can't find Elasmotheriums intact. You can't find them buried in the permafrost because they're from a time before that. They're from like a few 100,000 years ago, I believe. But they were huge and buff and had a massive like club on their forehead. For a long time, people thought it was attachment points for a giant horn, but research on the or not muscle attachments, fiber attachments or whatever, because rhino horns made out of like basically the same structure as hair, with keratin overlaying it. So yeah, it's but the composition of it it matches more having like a clubbed area. At least that's the most recent understanding that as I've been told. But woolly rhinoceroses, which lived much later, and actually lived in Europe too, they had two horns though. They were two-horned rhinos. Very closely related to the Sumatran rhino, I believe. Or, yeah, the hairy one. I think that's Sumatran, right? Yeah.
It was a lot more bulky and threatening. The unicorn skeleton found in Siberia is thought to be 350,000 years old, but it's one of the best preserved fossilized skulls of this animal we've ever found.
See, there you go, perfect. That's what I'm talking about. See, they think that it had like a dome, not a horn. They used to always say this animal had the biggest horn of any mammal ever, but it's been kind of redacted because we don't know that it had a horn. So I think that the biggest horn ever does go to the woolly rhino, if Elasmotherium didn't have a big horn. Note that the background behind the photo of the unicorn is the exact same one you see as the background for other similar faked evidence and fairy giants and whatnot. Yeah, I know, like with the archaeological dig site. I'd love to know which archaeological excavation they stole that photo from and why they always use the same photo.
Are very rare because unicorns were never that common, and over time many of their fossils and skeletons have worn away. According to ancient Greek and modern scientists, unicorns...
Why does it point to Central Russia and then the Russian plateau when it's talking about Greek? That's weird in modern scientists.
Originated in Central Asia.
Oh, okay.
That may explain why this
Let
video...
him finish his sentence, Bree. You can see it on the screen, too. Explain why this video from 2015 appears to capture a unicorn in Russia.
From 2015 appears to capture a unicorn in Russia. A man was hiking up a large hill in Russia. That's when on the hill adjacent to him he saw something very strange. You can't see it well when zoomed out, but when the man zooms in, a pretty clear white, horse-like animal with a single horn can be seen. The animal is so far away from the man that it doesn't even react. It has no idea it's being watched or recorded. If unicorns still exist today, maybe they're scared of humans. After all, many believe that one of the main reasons we don't see unicorns today is because humans have hunted them into extinction. In fact, it's been written that in the Middle Ages, knights would give each other unicorn horns as a sign of good luck. It's also...
Yeah, not like they were getting those from the, from the Scandinavian whalers that are narwhal horns, right? No way that could have happened.
Also said that the throne chair of Denmark is partly made from unicorn horns. But are these sightings, videos, and fossils enough to prove that unicorns did at one point live on our planet? Or do you think that unicorns are simply mystical creatures that do not exist?
That's from
and if they
Legend.
did exist at one point, does that mean they could still exist today? And if they did exist at some point, does that mean they could still be around today? Or do you believe that unicorns are simply legendary creatures only found in fiction?
That's not
So
a
let's look
unicorn.
at some other...
We're not going to look at your other stuff, you deceptive bastard. We are going to look at this video, though. This is the one from Russia. I really like this one. This is probably one of my favorite cryptid videos of all time because it's so subtle and so effective. I don't know how they did it, but it could be a horse, but it's not really built like a horse.
Meinst du diese Lücke da hinten oder was? Das ist eine Kuh oder so.
No, I like the idea of a unicorn is like a smaller antelope-sized Perseidactyl. I love that idea. I do. I would like to do like a... When I was doing... I started doing the cryptophylogeny videos, but they took a lot of work and nobody watched them, so I stopped doing them. But... Or like where I'd build like a phylogeny and put different cryptids. I think I just did the one. I just did the one for the devil monkeys and the dogmen and stuff. I did one for that, but it didn't hit like I wanted it to, so I stopped making them. But I would love to do one on the unicorn as a offshoot of Perseidactyl. But we're gonna watch this. So he zooms in. That's it. It's just that. It's almost... It's like the Patty Gimlin footage of unicorn sightings. Let's slow it down. We're gonna mute it too. Alright, so shaky cam, yes, of course. He is zooming very, very far away, though, so... It does look like there's a horn, but when it turns its head slightly, it almost looks like it has two horns. Which makes me wonder... But its tail is very, very long. I like that, too. I like when unicorns are given special anatomy beyond just having the horn. Like I said, like when they're smaller and skinnier, or they have a long tail or a long neck. What do you all think of this one, though? Like, I want to say this is just a horse, maybe in a costume. But what do we think? What do we think, Hive? This is my favorite one, though. It does that little head turn. Right there. Right there. Right there. It kind of looks like it has two horns. Almost bovid-like horns, like cattle horns. I don't know. Alright, this next one, we're going to start talking about skulls again. Boy, oh boy. Where's the speed? Because we need to bring it back to normal. There we go. Alright.
Are we in another timeline right now, y'all? It must be, man. So check this out. After 30 years of being on his farm, this farmer comes across what appears to be some type of unicorn skull. After 30 years, y'all. I don't know what to believe anymore because, again, the historians have left the building, so history was all a lie. So I don't know what's going on here, but check this out.
Shocking discovery in rural Iowa has experts questioning everything we thought we know about mythology and history. What started as routine plowing on the Johnson family farm turned into an archaeological sensation when their tractor unearthed what appears to be the skull of a unicorn. The skull was immediately...
The skull that they keep showing is this one. It's the one from Amazon. Right? Even the dimensions you can see. Yeah. No, this one right here. There we go. Even the dimensions you can see that it's oh, you can also see that I'm buying underwear. But the teeth the teeth formation and everything on it matches up. It's this is the skull that they keep showing us. Not this. This looks like it's from that almost looks like a tooth. Like of a marine animal. I don't know for sure, but or like a crocodilian.
Unearthed what appears to be the skull
that
of
one
a
right there, though, is the one from Amazon.
Unicorn. The skull was immediately transported to Iowa State University, where paleontologists are conducting extensive tests to determine its age and authenticity.
The bone structure is unlike anything in the fossil record. We're completely baffled.
Preliminary carbon dating suggests the skull could be over 3,000 years old, predating any known horse species in North America.
What? No. Wait a second. You cannot say predating any known horse species in North America when horse species come from North America and they lived in North America for millions of years up until the end of the last ice age. So, no. 3,000 years ago is not predate horses in North America. What nonsense. What poppycock indeed.
America.
Then they already proved that carbon dating is a farce because, you know, you need near perfect conditions, which doesn't exist. You guys see the atmosphere is always changing. So I don't know about this, but
What?
I do know
Carbon dating is not a farce. What are you talking about? People try to some idiots try to use carbon dating outside of its preferred range where it actually is useful. And got crazy results. And under certain conditions, things can't be carbon dated. Certain marine deposits can't be carbon dated properly because preservation is different in a marine environment. But there are other methods of temporal assignment that we can use to date things if carbon dating is not going to be accurate. A lot of different options that we have.
the Bible talks of or speaks of unicorn. The Bible uses the word reem as the word unicorn, which translates to what's called a wild ox or a rhinoceros. A rhinoceros, right? Why is that important? Well, have y'all seen the shape of Antarctica lately, y'all? I've spoken about
Antarctica is shaped like a rhinoceros? I never heard this conspiracy before. Holy shit.
the shape of Antarctica and what it really represents. So is Antarctica the magical unicorn? And what's happening in Antarctica right now, y'all? I be talking about this. Look at this. That's why they all around Antarctica.
Are there unicorns in Antarctica? Is that what we're getting at here?
And yeah, it goes way deeper than you think. This right here is also the reason why they got a whole organized group of poachers going around and dehorning the rhinos. If you want a part 2, I need this video to blow up, get them views up.
So they are going around dehorning rhinos to protect them from poachers, because the poachers will kill them and take their horns, whereas the conservationists take their horns humanely. They tranquilize them, blindfold them, use tools basically to grind their horns away.
Likes up because for some reason TikTok is stopping my grind. But yes, I need the views to go up, y'all. But yeah, it's so deep. But yeah, y'all, like, follow, share for more videos like this. The shift is here. Let's continue to get it. Peace in.
What?
Alright, I'm shooting this again because I'm shooting a black screen and I'm getting too much glare. It's rough when you're doing this. It says
When was this from? This is recent, right? No, it's 8 years ago. This website looks like it's from 8 years ago. Cryptozoology, conspiracy theories, psychic phenomenon, strange history. analysis by authoritative analysis by credentialed experts in the field. Unicorn skull discovered in cave.
Unicorn skull was discovered in a cave. Bam. We got 3 views.
Okay.
Close up. Obviously, these people were not researchers. There should be what? What's missing? Come on, people. A ruler. So you get a reference of how big that thing is. Nowhere in the article.
Where's our banana for scale, damn it?
Did it say from here to here is 1 foot or 6 inches or an inch? No reference to anything at all. From reading the article already, something tells me it was unknown what it was. All right. For some reason,
like the horn, this one is
mode.
probably the more convincing
But
of the
as
skull one.
we did the research. There we go. Locale.
I'm trying to find
Historically documented sightings. In the 17th century, a Dutch physician, Dr. Ulfert Dapper, he says he's seen animals resembling horses, but with cloven hoofs, rough manes, a long straight horn upon the forehead, a curled tail like that of the wild boar, black eyes, and a neck like that of a stag. They live in the loneliest wilderness.
and are shy.
Then we got another person. Oh yeah, horses, as we know them, didn't even arrive into the New World until the 16th century. A Friar Marcus also came across one in 1530.
And by the way, I found the site he's on. It doesn't look too much different. It does look more modern now. But yeah, that makes sense considering that was 8 years ago. Journal of the Bizarre is what we're looking at. But there's the same tagline. But there's a couple of unicorn skull stories. We're talking about this one right here. You can go to read more. In April 2013, Journal of the Bizarre featured an in-depth analysis of the strange unicorn skull found in a shallow cave in Union County, Pennsylvania. It says this is a link, but it's not. When we learned of the discovery, we dropped everything and went to see the unusual specimen ourselves. The specimen appears to be a skull of a young male deer with an 8-inch bony projection protruding from the frontal bone. The parietal bone is missing and oddly appears to have been removed with surgical precision with a sharp object rather than broken off. The appearance of the incisors led us to believe that the procedure was done centuries ago, perhaps as part of a Native American ritual. We spent a great deal of time examining the antler. Horn and antler are two different structures. Horns are composed of keratin, while antlers are composed of bone. The specimen we examined undoubtedly had a bony growth protruding from its skull, so it's not even a horn, it's an antler. This is clear evidence, but this clearly evidenced by examining the tip of the specimen's antler. The surface layer of bone has chipped away, revealing the underlining lamellar bone. When antler reaches the end of the growth process, the outer layer becomes compact bone, while the centers are filled with coarse and spongy lamlar bone and marrow. It's like a softer it's the antler. It's the brown, the light brown stuff that has a lot of blood vessels and stuff in it. The detail of antler anatomy is virtually impossible to replicate by a hoaxer and adds an important touch of authenticity to the unicorn specimen. Another crucial detail exhibited by the unicorn specimen is the smooth, polished look of the antler's middle shaft. The velvet, which covers the surface of the antler, is removed by the animal rubbing its antlers against vegetation. This is what gives them the smooth, polished look. A close examination of the unicorn's antler reveals that the shine doesn't extend all the way to the base of the antler or to the back of the antler. It is limited to the part of the antler which would have most likely come into contact with vegetation. Ooh, my unfinished journey's been a member for 6 months. Woot woot! Yeah. Hail Hive and hail Dr. Ulf Dapper pre-adoption. I don't know what that means, but yeah. Well, here's the best place to be. I don't think Arn's going yet, is he? Sometimes I'll send people to Arn's. I'm sending people to Ben's today, though. Just so you know. Another crucial detail exhibited by the unicorn specimen. I just read that one. To use this indication as an authentic specimen, although an authentic specimen of what we couldn't say, we doubted that any hoaxer would take these tiny details into consideration, such as the laminal bone beneath the surface of the antler, the rub marks on the antler exactly where they should be, the seamless transition between skull and unicorn horn. If some hoaxer had just glued a horn onto the skull, it would have been evident upon closer examination. We used an ultra high resolution camera to photograph the find, and the pictures, even when magnified, do not indicate any evidence of hoaxery. And now, nearly 4 years after the skull was found, the owner has contacted us and informed us that he wants to sell the specimen. According to the seller, experts who have examined the specimen are stumped. It's just the skull of a deer who had some weird quirk of fate happen to grow a horn, he explained. At any rate, we have agreed to act on the seller's behalf in his quest to sell the strange item. Offers can be made by email Anna at, Anna Newberg at yahoo.com. Don't ask us about the price. This is the first damn unicorn skull we've ever seen, much less sold. It's not like Beckett's or Sotheby's publishes an annual price guide on unicorn skulls. But I mean, it is a unicorn skull, I guess. Well, a una antler skull. Una antler skull. Is Kip gone? No, he's still here. At least according to my tagging. What's that say? The earlier quote from Dr. Alfred Dapper, who wrote during the 1700s, in my head canon, this was the pre-adoption appearance of Dapper Dinosaur, and you can't prove me otherwise. Okay, that could be canon.
When he was accompanied by Stephen the Negro.
Oh, that's a hell of a line to come back to.
Big hide of an ox. It was the skin of a beast, one horn on the forehead, bending towards his breast. And then we're the British Royal Navy, Sir John Hawkins in 1564. The Floridians have unicorn horns which they wear about their necks.
That doesn't work either.
When it goes to drink, its horn hits the water first. Prior to the 17th, 3 credible witnesses who describe unicorns in North America: a physician, a priest, and the controller of the entire British Navy. Well, there you go. We got simple and well-educated men to that area, confirming, yes, we had unicorns back in the day.
But it's a
And they got 'em
deer.
at
How come
400
you haven't mentioned that it's a deer once while you're reviewing this? It even says antler right there. I can see the word antler.
and 81 dots per inch resolution. Amazing, right? And you didn't want to believe in unicorns.
I mean, I guess technically it wouldn't be a unicorn. Because corn means horn, and it's not a horn. Just in my humble opinion, I don't think a one-horned deer is a unicorn. Matter of fact, yeah, I almost feel like it has to be. It has to be a horn. It has to be. It cannot be antler. It cannot be an ossicone, or ossicones like the African unicorn had. What are we looking at here? Rural Maryland.
Alright, been looking for a unicorn all day long. Heard it's in these parts.
Oh,
there it is. Get down.
I think this is like a medieval fair or something. Yeah. There's
Oh,
even a
shake
lady dressed as a fairy there with it. Look. Oh, there it is. Proof. 100% proof. 100%. Beyond a doubt. Slow it down. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. You guys get to hear me go, oh, 100 times a day. So we're going to slow her down. Blurry, 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 blurry. There we go. So there's somebody with wings there. And this is what I was talking about. This is definitely something wearing a fake horn. Like a boing, boing, boing horn. And this tent almost makes me think they're at some kind of Ren fair. But it is awful overgrown for like a fairground. I keep doing that instead of hitting this. I'm trying to hit this. Clearly, though. Yeah, clearly a unicorn. Magical. What else do we got? Now this one's special. Because there's our unicorn. But this unicorn, you have to believe in the horn. You have to believe in the horn to see it. If you can't see the horn, it's because you don't believe enough. That's clearly a unicorn.
A family made a remarkable discovery while on holiday in Cornwall when they stumbled upon what looked like a unicorn skull.
Another unicorn
John
skull.
Goodwin found the unusual skull with a horn at St Nectan's Glen, a waterfall area already considered magical by thousands of visitors. About halfway through a walk around the waterfall, which is also considered to be sacred and a spiritual site, his daughter spotted something sticking out of a mossy bank. When John pulled it free, he found the skull with a horn growing straight out of the middle. While he is still unsure exactly what animal the skull belonged to, his gran thinks it may be the unicorn Merlin rode at the Battle of Baden.
Of course, it's Merlin's unicorn. This was a Canadian tourist found a unicorn skull while traveling in Cornwall. Of course he did.
The area's links to the legend of King Arthur, including Tintagel Castle. On the way to London Stansted Airport,
Let's see if we can find this
fly to
location on the map, though. Is something. Is this right? Yeah, we're in Cornwall. Okay. So there's a sacred waterfall down here. Gotta be magical unicorns. I don't know if it's down Troutleap Cottage. So there's like a river down there. We can't get down to it though. The waterfall's somewhere down here though. Somewhere down, where's the water flows down through here. But I don't think it actually looked like the waterfall they just showed. But this is believed to be a cow's horn on a horse skull.
To Greece for a holiday, John's family stopped at the Stonehenge Inn pub in Salisbury. He said they showed the skull to the staff at the pub, who then offered him unlimited ale in return for the skull.
And here's the famous one.
It's not purely a unicorn. It's a horse with a horn. So that's a unicorn, right? No, there.
There's two horses.
It's like a horn. We found a unicorn.
It's in cosplay.
This shit is gonna go viral.
I think that's the end of my playlist. Yeah, that's the end of my playlist. So, yeah, we've traveled around the world looking for unicorns, from Pennsylvania to Cornwall to Russia to India to Uzbekistan. We've traveled the globe. We've spanned the globe, my Hive. We even went to the dark recesses of Amazon to look at the fascinating skulls available for purchase with the spiraled narwhal horn. Yep. You too could own your own unicorn horn. So, CrypticCorner. Good times, always. You're going unicorn hunting, Jason Jacoby? Hi, beautiful people. Hello, Jason Fox. We got Jason's out the wazoo. Is that why it's called Cornwall? Unicorns and used to frolic in the cliffs like goats? Yep. Unicorn wall, absolutely. They just took the unicorn, they took the uni part off to trick us. All right, what do you all think though about the unicorns? Do you think that it's in my opinion, of course, as I've said, is that they are the way that people in European countries depicted animals that they'd never seen before by correlating them to animals they had seen before, like the elephant and the pig, like the horse and the unicorn. They used to draw giraffes like horses too. They were just horses with really long necks. Among other things, they'd also draw more like camels because Europeans had been familiarized with camels since antiquity. But in medieval times, they'd never seen, a lot of people had never seen a giraffe. And people were like, oh, it's like a camel. And they're like, okay, just draw a camel with spots. Yep. All right. So that is going to wrap up Cryptic Corner for us today. Thank you so much for sticking around. And please remember to be kind. Take care. And we will see you next time. All right. All right. Brittany, back on the bed with you. Oh. Back on the bed with you. All right, so that is Cryptic Corner. I'm going to take a quick intermission, as I want to do between the segments. So I had to adjust my top. This is my first time wearing this, so I'm going to be making a lot of adjustments in how I wear it. So I apologize if I'm fumbling my straps and titties and stuff. Just trying to get comfortable. It's a brand new dress. It's got little red hearts all over it. Anyway, I'll be back. I'm going to take an intermission. I'm going to go potty and stuff. And yeah, I'll see you all in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Well, this is a first. Hey, how you doing? I've never stopped a UFO. I come in peace. Me too. All right. This is interesting. Huh? I said, where's your driver's license? That is. No, it's not. You tried it. I don't know that you get along around here being a cattle mutilator. Yeah, you wouldn't get far around here. Mutilating cattle. Thank you. And do you have your insurance for this UFO? Yeah, it's So do all your toggles and stuff work? All the toggles, what are they for? Oh, well, they're universal, so when I go to Galactica, and I have to fight the aliens from another planet, well, these here are beamers, and they, Let me step to the side of those. They're heat sensitive. They're heat sensitive? Yeah. Well, I'm a pretty cool guy, so they shouldn't go off. They won't, because you are cool. All right. Well, I'm going to give you this back. This does not look like you. So I assume it's some type of skinwalker because I have my shapeshifter or something. Well, yeah. See, I have my humanoid book right now. Yeah, I told you somebody would show up to have to see this. You guys can get pictures if you want. Hey, how you doing? Good. They come in peace. They come in peace. Yep. I'm an alien. Yeah. So, I mean, I know that was like light years ago. I've got a bunch of them. All right. So your your UFO's a little wide. Okay? And that wind's catching it, so you're going like this too. Oh, really? Yeah. Because I've never, because it's 90, I built it. Yep. So it's 96 inches. I know DOT is 102. Yeah. Yeah, you're not too wide. Yeah. But as wide as it is, when that wind catches it, it's pushing you, on that side of the highway and then on the shoulder. I'll make sure that, I try to keep up with traffic, but they're I know, that's why I'm out here. They're breaking the law, so they're out here trying to do warp speeding. So that's what I'm out here for, and then lo and behold, I come across a UFO. Yeah, hey, Mr. Carnell. It's a pleasure. Pleasure to meet you. I've never met anybody from a humanoid like you. A humanoid like you from where exactly are you from? I'm not Pennsylvania, so I am actually from. You're just intergalactic. Krypton. You're from Krypton? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I have superhero. I have superpowers. Oh yeah, what are those? X-ray vision. I got keep plasma. I know. I felt it getting hot when you're staring at me. I love this guy. All right, there's driver's license. Hey, well, you guys be careful, okay? All right, thank you, sir. All right, thank you.
Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to our Week in Weird, where we look at like conspiracy theories and stuff. Whatever's tickling the fancy of the audience. We do a weekly poll that you can go out and vote on. Looks like Hold on, let me pull this up. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so like, yeah, this is our polls for our Week in Weird. Other things we're gonna learn to do hydrokinesis. We're gonna like be waterbenders. I know you want to. Got Bells of Tartaria. Tartaria is that conspiracy theory about the reset in 1776, and bells are really important to the mythology, like the Liberty Bell, and they have alleged Tartarian origins, and we're going to look at that. We also got mystical martial arts, like Aikido. People saying, oh, you can just whoosh, and people fall down and stuff. It's kind of silly. But today, we're doing the Lost Dragon Fleet. We're doing this whole episode on pre-Columbian, which means before Columbus entered North America, that these other nations contacted North America in some capacity. Pre-Columbian contact is what they call it. Now, there's some confirmed pre-Columbian contact, right? Like, we know for a fact that Vikings from Iceland and Greenland, the Greenland Chronicles, include stories of the Vikings visiting North America, which was confirmed in when they found Viking settlements in Canada. So that's confirmed, pre-Columbian contact. Also, there is both genetic and botanical evidence of pre-Columbian contact with people on the Chilean coast and Polynesians, whether from Rapa Nui or from what do they call them, Qatari Islands. But yeah, they were in contact with the South American coast. So those are the things. Those are the two that are confirmed. But there's other ones, including that ancient Chinese explorers discovered North America, including some very famous ones. But we're gonna tap right into that right now.
More than 500 years ago, Christopher Columbus, the legendary explorer, set out on a voyage funded by European
genocidal
royalty.
maniac who was like kicked out of the colonies and prosecuted for treating his slaves so bad. Like, not only did he discover America, he innovated what we would call antebellum slavery, plantation style of sugarcane at the time. They're farming sugar in the Caribbean
To find a western route to India. He didn't make it to India, but he ended up discovering the Americas in 1492. The first person in the world to make it to these shores. Or was he? You see, there are several theories and pieces of evidence like this ancient China.
Like the fact that there were populations of tens of millions of people in North America before and when Columbus arrived that had been there for 30,000 years. How about that? You could start there if you're going to say the first person, unless you want to dehumanize the people that lived there before the conquest of the New World.
Chinese map, these Chinese anchors off the coast of California, or these ancient Chinese carvings in New Mexico that point to the Chinese having come to America before Columbus. They just for some reason decided they didn't like it here and didn't stick around. In this video, I want to give you 4 such theories, and remember, they are just theories. You can make up your own mind what you believe. And this video is brought to you by Puritung, but more on that later. Number 1, Chinese explorer Zheng He. So Zheng He was a Chinese Muslim explorer who went on 7 voyages to the west. He is regarded as one of the most glorious figures in Chinese history by people today.
How did he say it? Say it again, let me hear. I want to hear it.
Number 1, Chinese explorer Zheng He.
Zheng He. Zheng He. Okay. which isn't pronounced leaf. It's like bay. Okay, so it's Leif Erikson. I know how to say it because SpongeBob had episodes about Leif Erikson Day. Yeah, but I don't. My pronunciations are terrible. But I have fun trying to say words. Leif Erikson. Leif Erikson. I'm okay with that. Leif.
So Zheng He was a Chinese Muslim explorer who went on 7 voyages to the west. He is regarded as one of the most glorious figures in Chinese history by people today, primarily for the fact that he makes China look really good. He's basically China's Columbus. They even named a ship after him in Star Trek.
Acting Captain Will Riker in command of the USS Zheng He.
They kind of butchered the pronunciation. But anyway.
Zheng He, he said. Zheng He, Zheng He.
Court eunuch under Emperor Yongle in the Ming Dynasty. He was tasked with sailing to the west to show off the Ming Dynasty's power and collect tributes to the emperor from so-called tribute states. So when you see old paintings, for example, of giraffe in China, that came as a tribute from the Sultan of Bengal on Zheng He.
And linking back to our previous topic, when the Chinese wrote about these giraffes that they brought from the old world, or from Africa, they called them unicorns. They called them unicorns. Or the Chinese word for unicorn, which was kirin. And I know that because I used to have a kirin, like a little statuette.
Voyage. These expeditions were massive. Zheng He had over 60 ships, up to 240 feet in length.
I try to say things right. Leif. They didn't say it that way on SpongeBob. They did just say Leif Erikson Day. So, but I'm okay with Leif Erikson Day too. I think we should start celebrating that in America if we're gonna celebrate. And I'm not saying Leif Erikson was like a great guy either. I mean, they got here and also immediately went to war with the natives. It's like you can't show up in North America without trying to kill some indigenous people, apparently, if you come from a European country. It's just not in your nature. Whole lot of meanness in that genome, it seems.
6 decks each and a total crew across the whole fleet of 28,000 men. Now typically people think Zheng He's voyages went something like this. He basically followed the coast of Asia west, past India, around the Arabian Peninsula to the east coast of Africa, and then came back. He went 7 times, going only as far as India the first few times, and then making 3 trips all the way to Africa. Well, that's all well and good, except for the fact that there is another map that appears to show Zheng He actually circumnavigated the world and mapped the entirety of North and South America with some level of accuracy. I mean, he had California floating in the sea off the west coast, but you know, maybe we're better off without them. Zheng He...
A lot of old maps had California, as an island from the Baja, because the Baja was so deep. I mean, if you look at it, we got the map still pulled up here. If we look, we're the wrong side of the world, but we'll get there. Just whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. If you look, like, if you didn't know when you came up here, you would think, you know, this was an island. And since this is what California is named for, even though California goes all the way up to here, it's this whole coast. The entire Golden Coast right here is, if you were coming at it from the south, you would think that this was an island. That this was. And that's what they named California. Oh yeah.
Managed to predict Calexit before it even happened. Now, this map is supposedly an 18th century copy of a 1418 map that would, if real, show that Zheng He discovered America 70 years before Columbus. Only problem is the origin of this map is really not that clear. It was supposedly discovered by a Beijing-based lawyer who bought it from a second-hand bookstore for about $500 US. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. Who spends $500 in a second-hand bookstore? But according to the Daily Mail, Mr. Liu had the map authenticated by an appraiser from Christie's Auctions, who said that the document was very old and was not a newly made fake. It then attracted the attention.
Well, it depends on what you mean by newly made. Was it made after they started mapping North America, though?
British historian Gavin Menzies, who did his own research on the map and says that the fact the map shows some of the same names for towns in...
Yeah. Come on now, Lima. That wasn't named that by the indigenous people that lived there. Come on now.
Peru that were being used in the early 1400s shows its authenticity. Menzies used this argument in his book, Who Discovered America, to claim that Zheng He made it all the way to the Americas on his voyages. Now, personally with this one, I don't think this map proves...
Or that the map shows that somebody who had been to... sailed in the New World, talked to Asian people and told them that they had, and told them what the coast looked like, and maybe even showed them maps that they had, that the Chinese map maker, cartographers used to put together this map. And that would explain, because the Spanish were the ones that thought California was an island. That actually checks out, that they got this information from the Spanish. That actually checks out based on what we're seeing here.
Nothing whatsoever. For starters, it's supposedly an 18th century copy anyway. Maybe they updated it with new knowledge. And if Zheng He did reach America, it would be a glorious achievement in China's
I gotta keep saying that to myself to remember how to say it, Zheng He, because I didn't even try to say it earlier when I was talking about it before I heard him say it, because I trust this guy singing it right. Because he seems pretty pedantic about how the Star Trek people said it, so I assume he knows how to say it properly.
Recent history. Wouldn't there be some other record of it in Chinese historical writings? So for me, this is the least likely of the 4 theories that we're going to look at. All right, let's move on to the next one. Number 2, Chinese characters carved in New Mexico.
I'm in New Mexico. Hello, Macros. Hello, Minnow. Good morning. We're talking about Chinese pre-Columbian contact and what evidence there is of it. So you did miss the unicorns, though. If you're just showing up now, I mean, not to say you can't rewind and watch the unicorn part, but we've moved on to the second segment of the show now, which is about ancient Chinese mariners in the New World.
Now, before getting into the fascinating ancient Chinese characters found carved on rocks in New Mexico, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video.
So before he talks about his sponsor, I wanted to, which is an omega-3, I wanted to say how freaking magnificent it would be to have seen the Dragon Fleet, right? To have borne witness to this city-sized fleet of ships with like the whole culture stacked on there. They had doctors, and they had artisans, and they had cartographers, and they had agriculturalists. And they brought gifts, and they received gifts, and exotic stuff that they brought and traded. It was like a moving city.
For yourself or a loved one this holiday season, and enter my code BH2023 at checkout to get free shipping on your order. Link is below. So if Zheng He didn't discover America coming from the east, maybe Chinese explorers came across the Pacific to the west coast. Is there any evidence of that? Well, there appear to be ancient Chinese characters carved on the rocks in New Mexico. This was discovered and researched by John Ruskamp. This rock near Albuquerque, New Mexico appears to show a very old version of Chinese characters that mixes both Seal and Bronze era scripts, which were common during the Shang dynasty that existed from around 1600 BC to 1046 BC.
This is a date of a man bowing down to the emperor, making a sacrifice of a dog in an official sacrifice. That's what this tripart symbol is. And the chances of putting these all together in the right order is 1 sextillion.
Ruskamp writes that National Park Service personnel confirmed the characters had been there for over 150 years. And that is significant because the understanding of these scripts, especially the Bronze era script, was lost after the Shang dynasty until the discovery of the oracle bones in Anyang, China in 1899. An American over 150 years ago would simply have no knowledge of these characters.
I'm not sure that those characters actually match what you're saying they do, though. Like, when you show them side by side, like this symbol, for instance, which they're saying is this, but this has this little thing coming off the bottom with like an upside down T coming off the bottom of it. This that does not have that. It also has this that hooks backwards, right? And I say backwards because I, learned to write in English, so I write left to right. So this pointing backwards, whereas this points, not only does it not point backwards, it points forward, and this curves down, where this doesn't curve down, it juts down and has two prongs here, whereas this just has one swoop up. This is barely similar at all. This here, the Chinese symbol it has down here to go with it, has like little toe things on the end of it, right? Look at that, like three little prongs on the end. Nothing like that here. These are just like, there's four, we call them legs, I guess, 4 legs. Whereas this has just the two with the prongs, and then just one without anything. And then this has like a triangle shaped sort of head, whereas this just has like a hammer shaped head. This hooks back, whereas this almost cuts straight back from the bottom leg. It's not the same symbol. It's not the same symbols at all. This and this look very similar, though. I do agree with that. But that's a human form, so not surprised that humans would make similar pictographs, no matter where they are, to represent a person. This is going like that. That looks like a hammerhead worm. That right there, but this does not look anything like that at all, in my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me, of course. I don't think it does. Yeah, again, another basic human form and a cross. A cross, literally that. Two intersecting lines. Not real convinced about that. Now, this looks like very similar on the bottom part. This looks like a TV with bunny ears. This looks like a TV with one of the round antennas. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this one looks similar at the bottom, but these aren't the same symbols. These are not the same symbols. Come on now. In 1849, there were a whole lot of Chinese immigrants. Yeah.
These all together in the right order is 1 sextillion.
Ruskamp writes that National Park Service personnel dynasty when the script was in use. But how did they get to America? Well, there is the theory of a land bridge during the Ice Age when sea levels were lower and people could just walk across from Northeast Asia to what is
12,000 years ago, though. Not during the... What dynasty did they say? The Zhang?
Modern day Alaska, but the last ice age ended 11,500 years ago, so that relates to much earlier settlers. The DNA of Native Americans is believed to be related to Asians, and this is an explanation for their arrival in the US, but that would be many thousands of years before Chinese culture, which has a history of about 5,000 years. So the other possible explanation is that they came by boat.
The American way, right?
You know about that.
Fresh off the boat.
Just like Zhenghe did following the coastline west, if you follow the coast of Asia east, it takes you past Japan and Russia to the Bering Sea, where the eastern tip of Russia...
You do not need to go through the Bering Sea, though. You can get up to here and follow the Aleutians. Right? And remember that there had been people who were ancestors had lived up.
Is actually...
I keep thinking that's my own map. Okay, so yeah, these people who had been seal hunting and whaling through here for thousands of years, right, along this coast, along these islands, up along this coast, and along these islands. They've been doing it for a long, long time. You don't need to come all the way up into the Bering Sea to make that eastward journey. There is plenty of island hopping to be had by people, even in light boats, to be able to make these journeys, right? I mean, you're not doing it in a kayak. Well, I mean, you could. Like if you set yourself up to it, I bet you could kayak from Japan to the Alaskan Peninsula. I bet you could easily. No, not easily. It'd be hard. It'd be cold. If you did it, you have to do it in the right season. But yeah, you don't have to go all the way up into the Bering Sea. When there was a land bridge, though, yeah, it's true. The land bridge was up here, right? Up here where the Bering Land Bridge National Park. It says or National Preserve. It says they're right there. Yeah, right up here. The Diomedes. That's the islands. These are the islands that they talk about where you can see. I can see Russia from my backyard or whatever when you're in Alaska. That's what they're talking about. And there's people that lived up here too, like seal hunters and stuff. Yeah, they've definitely been moving through this area for thousands of years. Hunter-gatherer people, Arctic people. I mean, it's not heavily populated or anything, but there's been people here for a long time. Different cultures have adapted to live in that type of environment, but yeah, they didn't need the people who populated North America. Didn't need to be those people that were up here. They could have very well been these people down here, and they could have island hopped all the way across. No problem. I mean, the Scandinavian folks did it. They went from, up here, island hopped all the way to here, and then to Greenland. And then they actually settled on this side of Greenland. There's not too much on this side. They settled on this coast. And down into Newfoundland and into here. So they managed it. And these people here were arguably as effective, if not more effective, mariners from China. They were very well familiar with the Korean Peninsula and the Japanese islands. So there's no reason to think that mariners couldn't have made that trip. There just wouldn't be a lot. The problem with that journey, though, is like when they're going this way, when they went into Africa and stuff, there's lots of big cities and trading ports and stuff along the way. You're not going to find that. You're not going to find anything really between, as far as trading ports between Japan and Alaska. You might have found some small villages, small fishermen villages and stuff, but it wouldn't have been anything to trade extravagant gifts or to feed a army of 26,000 people, which is what they said that that he had on his in the Lost Dragon fleet. And I almost tried to say his name is Zheng He.
Really close to Alaska.
You can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
You can then follow the coast down to California.
Evidently, they came by sea. They likely came in just north of Los Angeles on the Santa Clara River. We picked them up at Barstow, California, in a great number of writings here.
From similar carvings in California, Arizona, and New Mexico, it looks like they basically
They keep showing those same symbols, and I don't believe that for a second, that those are the same. That those are the same symbols. They keep showing the symbols compared to the ones that don't look like them. It's making me annoyed.
Followed Route 66 like a group of excited Asian tourists until they reached Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then left their mark to honor the Shang Dynasty king on a rock there. But it doesn't look like they set up a civilization here. There are other similar carvings scattered around which Ruskamp believes are copies made by Native Americans. So perhaps it was just a small expeditionary group, and when they got here, after what would have been an epic voyage, they made contact with the Native Americans before heading back. Or even if they stayed, they simply got absorbed into the Native American communities already here. Now, if you think it's unlikely that this voyage happened, take a look at our next piece of evidence. Number 3, Chinese anchors off the...
That's a thing they say about stones off Florida's coast, too. When we watched that, I think we watched a video about that in our, it was part of the UPart thing. It's like, oh, these are ancient Greek ballast stones or whatever. You know?
Coast of California. In 1973, a US Navy survey ship was dredging the seabed off of California on the far side of Catalina Island. You know, the place on that Apple desktop photo. And came up with a donut-shaped stone object. This object was studied by Dr. C.C. Wu of the US Geological Survey, and according to the manganese coating, which was 3 millimeters thick and builds up on objects submerged in seawater at a rate of 1 millimeter every 1,000 years, it put the age of the object at approximately 3,000 years, or put simply, it was lost to the sea at around 1,000 years BC, around the time of the style of script that was found on the rock in Albuquerque. And this area of
Native American people couldn't possibly have used rocks with holes in them for their anchors. Oh no, it had to be somebody from Eurasia, the only civilized continent, apparently. But let's look at this. Catalina Island, California. Let's see. Where are you, Catalina? Is it south? I'll just type it in. California. Oh, it's much, much further south. It's almost by Mexico. Oh, wow. So there was actually a civilized empire famous for their stonework nearby. You don't say. And instead of it being from that, you know, the Aztec Empire, which was, I mean, it was still pretty freaking far away. But I digress. They were at least connected to it, but they had trade routes all up through here, all along the mountains. They had a special class of people that would trade, and there's paintings of them all the way up into Arizona and even Colorado. The Aztec traders that come and bring the bright colored feathers and stuff. So they had a trade route up here. I don't know how seafaring they were. These Mesoamerican empires were on the West Coast. But they at least had outriggers and stuff. And there were people that had been to these islands. The Channel Islands was the last place that there were mammoths in North America, and they were tiny little mammoths. But, you know, I mean, you could see these islands from the coast.
The seabed is full of such objects. The objects were then studied by Dr. James R. Moriarty of the University of San Diego, and yes, confusingly, the name is very similar to Jim Moriarty, the fictional enemy of Sherlock Holmes. But anyway, Moriarty and his student Larry Pearson analyzed the objects, and they found that they resembled stone rollers used for milling, road building, and anchor components in ancient China. So their research supports the claim that the Chinese sailed to the west coast of North America as far back as the Shang Dynasty and were able to write the inscription on the rock in New Mexico. But wait, there's more. Moriarty's research was cited by another Chinese academic, Feng Zhongpu, to back up what may be the first written account of a Chinese person reaching North America. And guess what? It was 1,000 years before Columbus.
Oh boy, we got a Buddhist monk. Let me try to guess how this is pronounced before he says it. I'm gonna say Huixin.
The Buddhist monk Huixin.
I did pretty good, Huixin. I said Huixin, but it's Huixin. I did pretty good. Come on. For not having any idea at all coming into it what this guy's name was how it was gonna be pronounced. So I'm not like good at that.
Now this story comes from the Book of Liang, or Liang Shu, completed in the year 635 AD. It tells of a Buddhist monk called Huixin who made a voyage to somewhere around the year 500 AD. He talks of a land called Fusang, and here's what it says about it in the book. Fusang is 20,000 li away from China, located in the east. Its lands have many Fusang trees, and thus it was named as such. 1 li is about 1/3 of a mile, so 20,000 li to the east would have taken Huixin to somewhere around Acapulco, Mexico. Now listen to the description of the trees. The leaves...
Aztecs! No, this would have been 3,000 or 500... I don't think the Aztecs were around yet. Let me see. Mesoamerican civilizations. Flourished for more than 3,000 years. Yeah. Okay, so the Nahua people began moving south into Mesoamerica from the north and became politically and culturally dominant in central Mexico as they displaced speakers. It says the name of the language, Oto. Well, I guess I could show you all what I'm looking at here. I was trying to get a timeline of trying to figure out who would have been ruling the area during that period of time. The Mayans would have been before. Would have been the Toltecs? Or the Mixtecs? During the early post-classic period. Is there... I'm thinking more along like the West Coast. Especially along the Pacific Coast. Yeah, all this was facilitated by considerable regional communication in ancient Mesoamerica. This is important here. That when we're talking about, like, when we were talking about the Catalina Islands and stuff, that these people talked and had communication networks all up and down the coast. You know, anyway. Not to the Kiwis yet. There we go.
Of the Fusang tree are like Polonia. When it's young, it's like a bamboo shoot. The people of the country eat it. Its fruit is like a pear, but red. Its bark is used for cloth for clothes, and also for silk, and for wooden houses. They had no walled cities. They had a writing system, and they used the Fusang bark for paper. Scholars believe that what Huixin is describing is the century plant, or agave, which does have a trunk like a bamboo shoot. It has fruits that can be red in color, and its fibers can be used for making rope and cloth. The plant grows throughout Mexico. Huishan supposedly left on his voyage in the year 451 AD and returned in 499. In that 48-year time frame, it is possible that he could have traveled that far. Another piece of supporting evidence is that the ocean current in the north of the Pacific, known as the Japanese Current, runs east and would carry a ship from Asia to the coast of California. Then there is another current going the other way that starts from the coast of Central America that could have, in theory, carried Huishan's ship back home to tell the story.
It's
All
that
right,
return
guys, so
trip
that
that I doubt. That's where my doubt runs, is that return ship, right?
is the story of how the Chinese discovered a...
That would have been like... That would have taken them past Hawaii. That's the current of the Great White Sharks ride. That's why I'm familiar with it. But it would have taken past Hawaii and stuff. In the Midway Atoll. I mean, we can look at the map again. Y'all don't have to ask me. I'll always be willing to look at the map with you. So if he went back along this current, it would have took him here along the southern side of the Hawaiian Islands, and they run for a long way. It's like the Hawaiian Islands, a lot of people just think that of this section here, but there's all of this. There's like almost 1,000, or is it over 1,000 miles of islands stretching eastward, or I guess westward, stretching to the east, to the east. But yeah, but it would take you into this area right here, which would have been like well charted at the time by Chinese fishermen, I would think. Japanese fishermen, I would think. I guess I'm saying things with certainty that I shouldn't be saying, but I would think that the this region of the Pacific would have been charted. Godzilla lives out here somewhere though, so got to keep that in mind.
America. Obviously, these are only theories, and you can decide how much of each one of them you believe. I personally think it's pretty funny that we make such a big deal out of Columbus. We even have a federal holiday to celebrate him, and the Chinese may have just nonchalantly beaten him to it without even realizing it was anything special. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to defend your health with Puritang's Omega-3 supplement.
Before we get into the video, take a look at these
Sasquatch shirts.
For the gentlemen, there's Papa Squatch. For the ladies, there's Mama Squatch. And for the kids, there's Sasquatch in training. For a limited time, these shirts will be available only on mysteriesofcanada.com for $29 Canadian.
Mysteriesofcanada.com, okay.
If we entertain the possibility that the mystery tunnel related by the Saskatchewan dentist might be the same secret staircase discovered by Ed Mullard, the Oriental artifacts it allegedly yielded present the notion that the underground passageway was carved from the living rock by Chinese miners in days gone by. Considering the location of the structure, it seems likely that these excavators, if they indeed existed, are some of the many Chinese prospectors who participated in the Leechtown gold rush. Some alternative historians, however, in light of the dentist's testimony, might be tempted to add...
Alternative historians is a fun way to say conspiracy theorist, right? Alternative historian, yeah. That's like I guess that's right up there with cryptozoologist, which I am, by the way, the world's leading cryptozoologist. And don't you forget it. No, you're cute.
The secret staircase to the mystifying body of evidence indicating that Asian mariners arrived on Canadian shores long before John Muir's laborers disembarked at Nootka Sound. In the summer of 1882, a prospector made a fascinating discovery near a creek in Cassiar country, a mountainous region in northern British Columbia, which had been the site of another gold rush in the 1870s. While digging a shaft through soft sand to bedrock, the miner came across a cache of 30 Chinese coins about 25 feet below the surface. The coins were strung together, a cord having been threaded through the square holes that perforated their centers. Scots-Canadian ethnologist James Deans examined these coins shortly after their discovery and determined that they had been minted around 263 BC, during the reign of Qin Shi Huang.
Didn't they keep their money on like a knotted cord or something? Wasn't that culturally what they did.
The first emperor of China. It might be worth mentioning here that a well-known...
Was there a body nearby? I'm just thinking there's probably like a dead Chinese prospector somewhere in the mountain range.
Canadian author attempted to connect this find with the equally intriguing 1801 discovery of what were identified as copper Chinese coins in a spring near the village of Chillicothe, Northwest Territory. The author mistakenly identified Chillicothe as Chilcotin country, located about 400 miles south of the Cassiar Mountains. In fact, Chillicothe is a historic city in southern Ohio, which served as the capital of America's Northwest Territory in 1801.
Well, there's a Chillicothe in Missouri, too.
Discounting the unlikely possibility that the Cassiar coins are brought into that northern country and buried by participants in the Cassiar Gold Rush, the prospector's discovery evokes the intriguing idea that ancient Chinese mariners made undocumented voyages to Canada long before Spanish, British, and Russian vessels breached the waters of the North Pacific. The ancient Chinese accomplished many incredible feats of engineering during the reign of Qin Shi Huang.
The Terracotta Army
brought an end to the carnage of the Warring States period in the misty recesses of China's crimson history, unifying the Middle Kingdom for the first time under his Qin dynasty. Among these were the construction of the massive Lingchu Canal, which connects the watersheds of the Pearl and Yangtze rivers, and the famous Great Wall of China, which sprawled across the empire's northern frontier, built to shield the Middle Kingdom from the warlike nomads of the northern steppes. When considered in the light of these spectacular projects, the radical concept of an ancient Chinese trans-Pacific voyage seems less incredible. More relevant to this intriguing potentiality is a mystical quest sponsored by Emperor Qin Shi Huang in the latter years of his reign. Desperate to escape death, the self-styled First Emperor tasked his court alchemists with discovering and retrieving herbs by which to concoct the Elixir of Life, a legendary potion.
Everybody knows the Elixir of Life is Canadian and contains maple syrup, so you gotta go to Canada to get it. Yeah, so he went to Canada to get some syrup.
Supposed to confer immortality on those who imbibe it, which are said to grow in a distant land across the sea. According to an ancient Chinese history known in English as the Records of the Grand Historian, composed in the last century before Christ, a scholar named Han Zhong set out on this mythical errand with an impressive armada of seagoing junks, and never returned.
Did he ride a deer? That's badass. I would love to be like, I'd feel like an elf princess riding a deer. With this hair, I'd look like a medieval princess. It's like a medieval hairdo. Wear this to get to the Ren Fair. Not this one, but I have a taupe peasant. This is peasant cut though, which is one of my favorite cuts. It squares across the breast. I like that.
Emperor sorcerers named Shu Fu is said to have made 2 costly voyages into the Pacific in search of the secret to immortality, disappearing on his second expedition in 210 BC.
Aww.
Legend has it that the alchemist discovered a distant land over which he proclaimed himself king. Although another Chinese history, written in the Middle Ages, identified this foreign domain as Japan, the voyages of Shu Fu and Han Zhong clearly indicate an ancient Chinese desire to discover a certain distant land across the Pacific. What might have inspired...
Yeah, it'd be in Japan or even the Korean Peninsula or something would probably make more sense than California, but...
inspired the ancient Chinese notion that another realm lay at the eastern end of what they called the Great Ocean. In her controversial 1972 book, Pale Ink, 2 Ancient Records of Chinese Exploration in America, American attorney and World War II codebreaker Henriette Mertz pointed to a historic text which she regarded as proof of an ancient Chinese knowledge of the New World, which might have predated the Qin dynasty. One of these ancient Chinese classics is a geography called the Classic of Mountains and Seas, the authorship of which many Chinese historians have dated to the Warring States period.
With frickin' dragons, don't leave out the dragons, because there's a possum that proves they went to North America, because possums are from North America, but our 4-winged dragons have since gone extinct.
Mertz argued that the 4th section of his tome, which details the geography and mythical inhabitants of a region called the Eastern Mountains, was a description of North America.
Cascadia, maybe? That'd be cool.
Another alleged ancient Chinese voyage to the Americas was that of Hui Shen, a Chinese Buddhist monk who, accompanied by a crew of monastic brothers, embarked on a journey to a distant domain called Fusang in 458 AD, determined to spread the Dharmic religion to its inhabitants. The monks remained in Fusang for decades, eventually returning to the so-called Celestial Empire, as China was sometimes called, to tell the tale of their adventures.
That's the one we just listened to about where they talk about the plant they thought maybe was a coffee.
Most notably, 19th century American folklorist Charles Godfrey.
Well, I don't know what it would be in Canada, what it would be called.
Leland have interpreted Fusang as a particular stretch of the west coast of the Americas. In his 1875 book, Fusang, or The Discovery of America by Chinese Buddhist Priests in the 5th Century, Leland included an English translation of a passage from a formal history of the Liang dynasty called the Book of Liang, completed by Chinese historian Yao Zilian in 635 AD. This passage is generally regarded as the best source on Hui Shen's semi-legendary voyage. According to this account, Hui Shen and his monastic brothers traveled to a land across the sea, whose peaceably inclined inhabitants relied heavily on the Fusang tree, a plant with sprouts resembling bamboo, which produced red, pear-like fruits. The natives wove the bark of the Fusang tree into clothing, and inscribed characters on its sheets in a written language unknown to the Chinese.
We just heard
They
about
built their
that.
houses from wooden timbers, and were ruled by a king named Ichi. The horns of the oxen are so large.
I'm the itchy one, as I'm a queen, not a king. Look, I got itch right now on my knee. Itchy knees.
Leland translated, referring to the country's beasts of burden, that they hold 10 bushels. They use them to contain all manner of things. Horse, oxen, and stags are harnessed to their wagons. Stags are used here as cattle are used in the Middle Kingdom, and from the milk of the hind they make butter. After detailing the marriage and funeral customs of the Fusang natives, Yao related a strange inland tribe.
Interesting that they had horses and cattle, though.
Shen, which was supposed to be composed entirely of women. Leland only recorded the first sentence of his interesting passage, dismissing the whole as intermixed with so much fabulous matter that it is not worth translating. Fortunately, Henriette Mertz included the remainder of the text in her book Pale Ink, which had been translated at her request by an unnamed Chinese scholar employed at the Library of Congress. In this passage, Yao Zilian quoted some long-lost narrative,
unnamed translator,
allegedly written by Hui Shen, which follows.
Yeah.
Hui Shen says that the Kingdom of Women is about 1,000 li, in other words about 350 miles, east of Fusang. The appearance of the people is neat and clean, and their color is white. Their bodies have hair, and the hair of their heads is long, reaching to the ground. At the 2nd or 3rd month, they enter the water and become pregnant. 6 or 7 months after, they bear their young. The female chests are destitute of breasts. At the nape of their neck, there is hair.
They're making fun of flat-chested people. I don't know what... And they're hairy, flat-chested people. I guess, is the implication here that they're talking about finding Bigfoot? I don't understand this.
And milk is in the hair at the back of the neck, and the infant is fed by that milk. Within 100 days, the infant can walk, and in 3 or 4 years is adult. It is true. On seeing a human being, the women are afraid and hide. They have a great deal of respect for their husbands. The people eat a salt plant, the leaves of which resemble a certain Chinese herb, and they have a pleasant, pungent odor. The narrative went on to describe how, in the 6th year of the Liang dynasty, in other words 507 AD, sailors from the northern Chinese city of Jinan were carried by a strong wind to an island near Fusang. On going ashore, the narrative claimed, they found a people there whose language they could not understand.
Ooh.
The women were like those of China, but the men had human bodies, with dogs' heads, and they made sounds like the barking of a dog.
There's a lot of travelers' tales about dog-headed people, which I think is usually in reference to like finding baboons or some kind of primate. So I'm wondering if these guys weren't down in like Borneo and down in the Sunda Islands instead of North America. I just speculating and maybe seeing orangutan and different what is this, the Micronesian people there, right? Who would be is it Polynesian, Micronesian, Melanesian? I think there'd be Melanesian people there too, and it just depending on which islands chains that they were exploring. But like in Borneo and stuff, there would have been maybe some orangutans that they saw. But if they went to the Polynesian territory, they do the big rings and hoops and stuff on their faces and tattoos and whatnot. So that might have given them the impression that they had beastie faces.
People eat a small kind of bean or kernel. They wear clothing made of cloth. They beat down the earth and make adobe for the walls of their houses, the shape of which is circular, and the doors or entrances resemble burrows. Incidentally, this brief account of dog-headed men living on an island in the North Pacific eerily accords with an old Gwich'in legend from northern Yukon Territory, recorded in 1895 by French oblate missionary Adrien Gabriel Maurice in his book 3 Carrier Myths. According to the priest's informants, Wiccan tradition contends that a race of dogmen formerly dwelt very far away in the west and beyond the sea, in the midst of a very powerful nation, among which magicians used to transform themselves into dogs or wolves during the night, while they became men again during the day. In his book, Leland made the case that the land of Fusang was really the west coast of Mexico, near what is now Puerto Vallarta, arguing that the natives whom the monks encountered were really the Mexica ancestors of the Aztecs. Whether or not Leland's interpretation is accurate, the narrative of Huishen is another undeniable indication of ancient Chinese interest in, and perhaps awareness of, a distant land beyond the Pacific Ocean. A third alleged Chinese voyage to the Americas, according to some alternative historians.
That's the thing too. They could have been wearing like wolf or bear skins, or even deer skin pelts, to give them the impression that they are like beast men.
Was performed by sailors in the fleet of Zheng He, a great Chinese admiral who served the Ming Emperor in the late Middle Ages. This theory was perhaps most famously articulated by the late British Royal Navy officer Gavin Menzies in his controversial 2003 book, 1421, The Year China Discovered America. In the early 1400s, during the reign of the Ming Dynasty, China's so-called Yongle Emperor, or the Emperor of Perpetual Happiness, launched 7 spectacular expeditions called treasure voyages to various maritime kingdoms west of China, from the Khmer Empire of present-day Cambodia to the Malindi Kingdom of present-day Kenya. Although Chinese envoys and merchants had regularly sailed to northeastern Africa and Arabia by way of the Indian Ocean since at least the reign of the Tang Dynasty, which ruled China during Europe's Dark Ages, the Ming treasure voyages of the early 1400s constituted the largest and most impressive Chinese ambassadorial expeditions to the so-called Western Sea at that time. The
You did see that they had voyages going down into the sun dust there too.
Was to secure tribute from the various kingdoms that bordered the Indian Ocean and solidify China's self-styled status as the Zhonghua, or Middle Kingdom, around which the world revolved. In order to effect this end, the treasure fleet would carry extravagant imperial gifts to the kingdoms in question, the magnitude of its ships and the quantity of its sailors, tacitly demonstrating China's superiority to the inhabitants of these foreign lands. In preparation for this ambassadorial enterprise, the Chinese emperor commissioned the construction of around 60 colossal treasure junks, each of them crewed by several hundred to 1,000 sailors. Legend has it that half the trees in southern China were felled to supply the wood for the emperor's armada. The Yongle Emperor appointed his favorite courtier, Zheng He, a Muslim eunuch from the Mongol province of Yunnan, the admiral of his treasure fleet, and in 1405, Zheng He led this so-called floating city, along with about 250 supplemental warships, on its first treasure voyage to the Indian kingdom of Calicut. Zheng He's treasure voyages successfully inched further west, and by his 7th and final voyage, which lasted from 1431 to 1433, the Chinese courtier sailed as far west as Kenya, where he received tributes of gold, giraffes, and African lions from the local Malindi king.
So let's look at this on the map. Alright, so they're going to Kenya. It's Mombasa. And they traveled along this coast. And they went up into the Red Sea too, into the Persian Gulf as well. All the way down here. All the way down here by Singapore. And yeah, that's quite a voyage, quite a mariner's journey.
When Zheng He returned to China after his 7th treasure voyage, he learned that his benefactor, the Yongle Emperor, had died. Yongle's son and successor, called the Hongxi Emperor, was an isolationist who had grown resentful of his father's expensive diplomatic endeavors. On Hongxi's orders, Beijing mandarins, or imperial officials, destroyed all of Zheng He's logs and records, and burned the enormous Chinese treasure fleet.
Not cool, dude.
Although most mainstream historians contend that no members of Zheng He's treasure fleet sailed further west than Kenya, a tantalizing illustration and an accompanying description drawn in the margins of a 1450 map of the world produced by a Venetian cartographer called Fra Mauro hint at some sort of nautical Chinese presence in the Atlantic Ocean. The image in question is a ship bearing great resemblance to a Chinese junk sailing west from the Cape of Good Hope. An accompanying description, written in Italian, tells of a ship from the Orient which was swept into the Sea of Darkness, or the Atlantic Ocean, by a storm in about 1420. Nothing but air and water was seen for 40 days, the description goes, and by their reckoning they ran 2,000 miles, and fortune deserted them. When the storm abated, the sailors of this luckless vessel managed to make their way back to the Cape of Good Hope, completing their return voyage in 70 days. While the illustration on Mauro's map raises the possibility that one of Zheng He's junks may have accidentally strayed into the Atlantic Ocean, Gavin Menzies' theory goes further, maintaining that some of the admiral's sailors made deliberate voyages of exploration far beyond the African continent. These epic journeys, Menzies contended, led to Chinese discoveries of South America, Australia, and the west coast of Canada. One piece of evidence which he claims supports his thesis is a 1513 map of the world, drawn by an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis, which the Turkish corsair admittedly based on existing maps drafted by European and Arabian cartographers. Menzies proposed that a section of the map depicts Patagonia, the southern tip of South America, which was first discovered by Portuguese
Same situation we talked about before.
Explorer Ferdinand Magellan in 1520, a full 7 years after the completion of Reis' map. The only way Piri Reis could have known about Patagonia, he argued, is if the region had been previously explored by non-European mariners. There was only one nation at that time, Menzies wrote, with the material resources, the scientific knowledge, the ships, and the seafaring experience to mount such an epic voyage of discovery. That nation was China. Citing other charts, which he interpreted as depicting shores...
It's even just crazy to think that they're claiming, oh, people, the Chinese, they discovered the West Coast, but they discovered it by going... Or they discovered, yeah, the West Coast of North America, but they discovered it by going west, not east. That's wild to me. That's like a full circumnavigation of the Earth.
Discovered by Europeans at the time of their composition, Menzies went on to propose that various of Zheng He's subordinates made extraordinary voyages to the farthest corners of the Earth, from the barren shores of Greenland to the ice-choked waters of Antarctica. One of these explorers was Admiral Joe Mann, whom Menzies submitted was tasked with exploring the Pacific Ocean west of South America. Menzies alleged that Joe's travels brought him to Australia, Indonesia's Spice Islands, and back across the Pacific to the west coast of Canada. After sailing south to Central America, Menzies claimed, Zhao returned to China. Most of the evidence on which
hopefully he had a lot of resources on board.
Menzies' hypothesis rests is speculative, including ambiguous coastlines on ancient maps, the presence of oriental fauna on the west coast of the Americas, and the rotten skeleton of a Chinese junk unearthed in Northern California. This author has, perhaps irresponsibly, decided to add another strut to this flimsy framework, in the form of a strange discovery made by Northwest Company explorer Simon Fraser during his famous 1808 descent of the river that would come to bear his name. In late June of that year, Fraser and his voyageurs arrived at what would later be called Lady Franklin Rock, an island in the Fraser River near what is now Yale, British Columbia.
Okay.
There, they fell in with a band of upriver Hulkamalum natives who drew their attention to a mysterious lithic feature near their camp. At the Bad Rock, Fraser wrote in his journal, a little distance above the village, where the rapids terminate, the natives informed us that white people like us came there from below, and they showed us indented marks which the white people made upon the rocks, but which, by the by, seemed to us to be natural marks. To the imaginative reader, searching for evidence of an ancient Chinese presence on Canada's west coast, this anecdote might conjure up images of pale
wouldn't
skin...
the Native Americans not see Chinese people as white people? I wouldn't think that they would interpret them as similar to the Europeans. Chinese people would generally be considered to look more like the natives themselves, right?
Han Chinese, ascending the Fraser River in the distant past. Perhaps members of Joe Mann's exploratory expedition, fresh from interring ambassadorial gifts of imperial porcelain in the hidden tunnel they excavated beneath Vancouver Island. Or Buddhist monks led by Hui Shen in search of the hairy inland Amazons of Fusang. Eager to leave an immortal testament to their visit, these travelers inscribed an epigraph on a prominent stone. This peculiar ceremony would endure in the cultural memory of the native observers, compelling them to dub the scene of the incident.
Before or after they went to New Mexico?
One of the early explorers in 1905 identified a wreck that he said he saw in Canebrake Canyon and described it as very ornately carved with a serpent-type bell. The assumption at the time was that it was Viking. I can't imagine the Vikings making it through the Northwest Passage or around the Magellan Straits, but I can imagine that the Chinese did this. The west coast of America displays numerous petroglyphs, most of which have been done by native cultures, but also 120 glyphs have been identified that appear to be Chinese.
We just talked about how those glyphs don't really match the Chinese characters that they claim they do.
Chinese landed on American soil. Research, we're confident, will lead us to the smoking gun that proves the extent and the range of Chinese exploration well before Columbus.
Today,
I am not opposed.
East Bay walls of
I'm not opposed to the idea of Chinese contact. You know, I don't think that that's necessarily a hoax. I believe that it's very possible. I don't believe that I find it harder to believe that they would have done it. They would have discovered it by sailing around Africa and then around South America, the Strait of Magellan, which was treacherous. I don't believe that, but the idea of them crossing the Pacific, yeah, I think that that's completely reasonable to think that Chinese explorers could have navigated across the Pacific, whether island hopping to South America, Polynesian style. That would have been a long way to go. But from like the Shanghai area, sailing up to Japan, and with lots of ports to stop along the way, right? All the way up to here. And even along here, you're going to have like fishing villages and stuff. And you can go all the way up to here, and now you're in Russia. And it's just a hop, skip, and a jump all the way around, and now you're in North America. But it's not really a hop, skip, and a jump. It's a lot quicker than trying to cross the mid or especially the southern Pacific, though. And they managed that. We know they did. There's people all the way over here, right? But yeah, what do you all think, though? Oh, y'all can't even see what I'm talking about. I'm such a dork. Yeah, I was talking about going up around here. I'm such a dork. Going up through here from Shanghai. Yeah, all the way up through here. Like I said earlier, you wouldn't even have to go into the Bering Sea. You could stay south of that along the Aleutians. All the way. All the way, and then once you get up into here, it's, you know, all this has been well established fishing and whaling ground in the Gulf of Alaska. Anyhow, but much more believable than crossing across there. Definitely more believable than going all the way down and around here and then up to Mexico. Just saying. All right. So, what do you all think about pre-Columbian ancient Chinese mariners discovering North America and apparently South America too in some cases? Do you think that that's a possibility? Or do you think it's all poppycock? Let me know in the comments down below. And please remember to be kind. Take care, and we'll see you next time. All right, my beauties and my bees. Don't go anywhere. Stick around. I'm going to take a quick intermission, and we're going to get back. We're going to be right back with Bree's Bestiary. And it should be fun. Yeah. All right. I'll see you all in just a few minutes. Oh yeah, I'm gonna run the intro thing that I made for Java and Jugs too. It's kind of cute. Well, I didn't make it. That I edited some of it and put a custom song on it. But all right, I'll see you all in just a few minutes.
Rise up in the morning, grab a coffee, check your fit. Hit the ground running, but try not to forget. There is a place where you can go to share some puppy hugs. Slow it down and listen. Have some cat with your friends with Java and Jugs. The best way to start your week to make that AM commute. Have that hot cup in your hand and wearing something cute. forget, girls, there's a place where you can go and bring your favorite love. Slow it down, listen in, have some caffeine with your friends with Java and Jugs. Rise up to the day ahead, find a place to sit. We save a special place for you, so try not to forget. There's a place where you can go with sugar, cream, and love. Slow it down and listen in. Have some caffeine with your friends with Java and Jugs. Careful, it's hot. Spend a Monday with your friends with Java and Jugs. We have mocha, vanilla, hazelnut with Java and Jugs. Coming right up.
All right, hello, and welcome to Bree's Bestiary, where I pick an animal from the animal kingdom, and we just get together and talk about it. And today, I have picked the New Zealand's fabulous little chubby bird, the kiwi. Now there is actually a YouTube channel dedicated to saving these birds. Called just Save the Kiwi, at Save the Kiwi NZ for New Zealand. Subscribe to it if you're not. They don't even have 3,000 subscribers yet, and they're doing good work. But they have a lot of different videos on their page about conservation efforts. This gentleman right here does most of them. But there are some videos with kiwis present, and I wanted to look at a few of those. So we're going to start with this Save the Kiwis video that they have here. So let's and this is from 13 years ago. And I'm not sure about this song, so I might mute the song. But shows us what kiwis look like. They're so cute. They're like giant shrews. They almost do look more like mammals, don't they? Yeah, still got that going on. I think some people think that they're a lot bigger than they are, and some people think they're a lot smaller than they are. Some people think they're like a teacup size, like a softball, and some people think they're like big as a turkey. They're more like the size of a chicken. A little bit bigger than a chicken, or a large chicken. Yeah, you can see people holding them and stuff. But they're awful cute. There's a lot of intro music. There we go. Finally. Let's learn all about kiwis.
We all call ourselves Kiwis, but how many...
Liar! I've never called myself a Kiwi. I'm from North America. What... I don't know what that would make me. A raccoon? Am I a raccoon? Feral and dark circles around my eyes? That's fair. That is completely fair.
Many of us have been lucky enough to actually see one in the wild. They are unique, they are our national icon, and they need our help. New Zealand has been the Kiwis' only home for millions of years, and where once they were common, now they are down to only around 78,000.
Not so long ago, not so much was known about kiwi. Although New Zealanders cherish this quirky, flightless, nocturnal bird as part of our national identity, although it is immensely important as a taonga for Māori, although we take it for granted that kiwi will always be around, in the early 1990s, the species...
I love their snoots, though. It's like they poke them around. Yeah, they're related to elephant birds, absolutely, Theo. And elephant birds are the biggest number of aves that ever walked the earth. They were so absolutely massive. They're not closely... So emus and cassowaries are closely related to each other. but neither one of them are closely related to kiwis. Kiwi's closest relative is the elephant bird. They're all in the same Paleonath group, which is like ratites and tinamous. It's the way that their dental or their palate is formed in their mouth that we used to designate that. But I believe the closest relative, and then the moas, which also lived in New Zealand, were not close related to the kiwis. The moas are closer related to the rheas of South America, I believe. I think that's how it's our current understanding. It keeps changing, though, so it's hard to keep up with.
Deep trouble, dying out on the mainland, and we didn't know why. When the spotlight went on to Kiwi, researchers and scientists quickly learned that they were disappearing from places where, not so long ago, they were common. They also discovered why they were disappearing, and oddly, that was good news. We knew what we had to do to turn the tide. Today, hundreds of people around New Zealand
thinking rats, cats, dogs, members of the weasel family that have become naturalized, which I don't know which species off the top of my head are in New Zealand, but I think it's like stoats. I could be mistaken.
working hard to save our national icon. New Zealand has 5 kiwi species spread from the top
Wow,
of the
this is the first show I've made it all the way to Breeze Bestiary without anybody doing gift memberships. Did I do something wrong? Is it the curly hair? Is that why you don't want to give me gift memberships? Because I have curly hair now? You can tell me.
Island all the way south to Stewart Island. Little spotted kiwi were probably once the most common kiwi species, but today...
Rabbits are fucking things up, yeah, all over Oceania, for sure. Rainbow ash.
They only survive on safe islands and in wildlife sanctuaries. Brown kiwi are found north of Wanganui in the west. And
I love the way they walk! It's so cute! Oh my god! Doo-doom, 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 doom.
Though new populations have been established at Remataka Forest
Look at their
near
big old
Wellington
toes.
and Pukaha Mount Bruce in the Wairarapa. Rowie, also called Okarito brown.
I'd rather, like, instead of getting like a dog or a cat, can I just get a kiwi? I can feed it mealworms and I can feed it dubia. Come on, let me have a kiwi as a pet. Let's domesticate them. I, for one, love your hair, says Rainbow Ash for $2. I love your support and appreciate you. This was a gift. Isn't it beautiful? I feel radiant and I feel like a medieval princess, like I said. It's like I want one of those tall cone hats.
Kiwi are the rarest of them all. Only about 250 birds are left, and they only live in a small patch of forest near Okarito on the west coast of the South Island.
I want to move there and just make it my life's mission to protect them. And protect them from bad guys. If someone would fund that. My member for 14 months. This is the best I can do. I'm broke this month. Yeah. January's rough. Yeah, I get it. I was just teasing. But I have a interview for a part-time job here on Monday, too, doing something locally. Help supplement my income.
South from there are the Haas Tokoeka.
But thank you for being here for 14 months, though. That's amazing. That's like, yeah, you've been here for over a year now. We really appreciate you so much, sweetie. Could you imagine laying one of those eggs? Even at my size, no. That would tear my cloaca out, right? That would shred my cloaca having an egg that big. Elephant birds had even bigger eggs. Elephant birds had eggs as big as a basketball. Rainbow Ash, member for 8 months. You rock. Oh my God. Thank you guys so much for being so supportive of the channel and being, just being part of my life. I doing this I would do this because I'm not doing this to make money. I'm not doing this to do anything besides give myself like a mental health day every Saturday morning to come online and talk about things that I enjoy with people who enjoy hearing about them. That's my goal. So as long as that's happening, I'm fine. I'm going to keep trying to keep doing this as long as it's something that can happen. But we'll see.
Most rare kiwi. About 300 of them remain in the Haast Hills. The name, Tokaweka, comes from Ngaitahu and means weka with a walking stick. 3 more varieties of Tokaweka have also been identified. 2 of them Fiordland mountaineers and 1 an island dweller, the Stewart Island Tokaweka. Last but not least is the largest of the kiwi species, the roro, or great spotted kiwi, which holds out at the top of the west coast and also around Arthur's Pass National Park. Kiwi are versatile birds. Some live on the coast digging in sand. Some live among snowy tussock high in the mountains. And some live...
I'm still feeling pretty sick too. I'm just trying to keep myself bubbly. I took some Dayquil before I went live, so it's still working. Starting to wear off though. My head's starting to throb right here, but I'm almost done anyway. We have less than 15 minutes of the show left.
And the many places in between. 20
months, Ember. That's amazing. Appreciate you so much. Broke Beach Club. Yeah, and you're a channel member and you can do all the brie emojis.
Forest, scrub, rough farmland, swamps, and even pine forests. All kiwi really want is a good supply of the food they like to eat. Insect grubs, crickets, snails, worms, spiders, fruit and berries. There's even evidence that kiwi go fishing for kora, the small freshwater crayfish.
It's
easy to see.
I want to own a kiwi. I can feed a kiwi. I know how to feed it. It sounds like it's very simple. It wants mealworms and beetle larvae, maybe some hornworms, some dubia, some crickets, fruits, and berries. I think I can. Yeah, 4 pounds of sinuses. Yeah, they're so swollen. My head was this big last night. I had to drain it into the bathtub. It's still draining.
Where a kiwi has been fossicking for food. Telltale funnel
I forgot we get the milestone chat, says Jason Jacoby, at 33 months. That's hella good. Oh my gosh, you've almost been here for 3 years? Holy moly.
Holes pepper the ground where its long beak has been.
No, you can't own a kiwi. They're all the species are endangered. Not legal to have as pets. I wouldn't really. I just want to. I like to daydream about having exotic pets that are domesticated and act like domestic animals. But I know that they are. They don't really. I don't want to. Yeah, everything's not a dog. But pretending a kiwi would act like a dog and be a good pet is just a fun thought. It'd probably be more like trying to have like a peacock or something, I imagine. It really wouldn't want it too much to do with you other than roaming around your property looking for food. Probably wouldn't want to be like cuddled and stuff, but we can pretend.
Maybe the bird left another type of calling card. Kiwi's black and white droppings have quite a distinctive smell.
Okay, so it's very strong and it's got kind of a...
So stick your fingers in the kiwi poop. Do not lick your fingers. Do not. If she licks her fingers, I'm done. I'm done for the day.
A real ammonia or even an oily smell. Quite a pungent smelling poo. So if you're out and about and you find something like that, you might be lucky enough to have seen kiwi poo.
Not in New Mexico. I doubt very much if I find that in New Mexico that it's going to be kiwi poo. There are javelina, though. Me and Henry tracked some javelina and we found their poops. I thought it was deer, but I'm like, those are way too small to be deer. The deer here must be super tiny, and it turns out they were javelina prints. I even double checked in a tracker group, which I'm part of on Facebook because I have weird hobbies. In a nearby city I used to live in, there was a peacock that roamed around, hung out with a gang of turkeys, that always harassed people at shops in the gas station. So when I lived in Warren, Missouri, the people that lived down the hill had a peacock, and I always thought it sounded like it was screaming, "Let me out! Let me out! Let me out!" I'm like, "Don't worry, ma'am, help's on the way." But I never saw it because they lived on the other side of a little wooded area. Yeah, Medical Myths is coming up next. Don't miss that. It's going to redirect you to it. As a matter of fact, let me make sure that I have my redirect set up right. Why are you typing like that? Let's see. Is it Medical Myths that you're doing this morning? Medical Myths. Upcoming. No, how do I know which one's the vertical? It doesn't show me. It's so annoying. It has them both on here. Let me show you. It's so annoying. It has them both on here, but it doesn't complete the title, and they both say the exact same thing, and there's no way to tell which one's which. Can you give me a name? I guess I'm gonna wing it. That looks good. Save. Alright, back to what we were doing. Kiwi birds.
One thing that makes kiwi so special is their biology, which is very different to most birds.
Key features of the kiwi which are unusual is that the nostril is placed right here at the tip of the bill, just by my thumbnail there. Most birds have their nostrils down at the base of the bill here, but kiwi are unique in having the nostril there right at the tip of the bill. And
helps them root for food.
They have a really big scent organ through here, so they can smell really well. They've got these big long tactile whiskers here, like a cat, which helps them judge their distance between trees and things, and burrows, how wide things are. Their eyes are quite small compared with the size of their head.
They have a very shrew-like face, very rodent-y, too, with all the whiskers. You can tell they're moving through tight underbrush in low light conditions, or even caves, you could say, with whiskers like that.
And their eyesight's not particularly good, and they've got these very big ears though, so they've got very good hearing. So at night they use hearing and scent as their key senses. And then they've got these minute little wings, so just really vestigial little wings here.
They don't really count as much anything, do they?
Little claw right at the tip of the wing. They've got these very sharp little claws
for digging and rooting around.
These particular ones are somewhat blunt because this bird's living in a rocky situation, but some of those can be really, really sharp. But
he's so
this
chill.
is their only defense.
See, if it was chill like that, could you imagine me sitting here holding like a kiwi while we did the show and petting it and stuff? And it's just chilling in my arms like that. Come on, that would be amazing.
Is with their claws against cats and dogs. A unique to kiwi is that they have no external tail at all. In fact, there's absolutely not even a
spank that
there,
kiwi.
And they've got this really nice.
I would do that to pop its little hiney. Be like, "You're a naughty kiwi."
Shaggy plumage.
Female kiwi are bigger than males and have a longer beak. Another unusual trait is that kiwi, once bonded, usually pair for life.
So
When ready to
I wouldn't get one kiwi. I need to get 2 kiwis because I wouldn't want my kiwi to be lonely. A lonely kiwi is not for me.
lay their egg, a pair works together to line the nest site, which could be in a burrow or a clump of vegetation under a rock or in a hollow log.
Oh, look how
more
cute
elaborate-
it is! Oh my god, I can't stand it. They're so adorable. Pull yourself together, Brie. It's just a bird.
Than the sleeping dens, which are unlined and are often just under vegetation and on the surface of the ground. While the different species have some of their own quirks, all kiwi are generally very territorial, and pairs will defend their home turf with razor-sharp claws. Kiwi call just after dark to mark their territory and find out where their mate is.
Love it.
A female has 2 functional ovaries, which is unusual in a bird. She produces a huge egg.
Oh my god, this is what who was going on about this? Was it Theo? Was it Theo saying that earlier? But yeah, this is how big their egg is compared to their body. They're basically just a full-grown kiwi inside another kiwi. That's insane.
15 to 20% of her body weight and 6 times bigger than for most birds of her size. The 2 ovaries mean kiwi can lay a second egg 3 weeks after the first. A female can lay up to 100 eggs during her lifetime. In 2 kiwi species, little spotted kiwi and brown kiwi, only the males incubate the eggs. All going well, after about 80 days, a fully feathered, open-eyed chick emerges. A miniature replica of its parents. Even newly hatched, it is nearly independent and, within a week, will start to venture out of the burrow to look for its own food. But it's right there in the burrow that kiwis' troubles start. To begin with, about half of all eggs laid don't hatch, either because of natural bacteria or because the egg is disturbed. Then, even if a chick does emerge, 70% never reach 6 months. They are killed by the deadly teeth and claws of stoats and sometimes cats.
Dr. Tapioca Weasel, sir, you have some explaining to do. You talk to your people about what they're doing to these kiwis. You keep your cats inside. Cats are an invasive species almost everywhere, right? Keep your cats inside.
Another 20% die from natural causes or other predators. That leaves just 10% of all wild chicks that make it to 6 months of age. And it's not over yet. Of those survivors, only half make it to adulthood. That means a tiny fraction, just 5% of the chicks that did hatch, become adults.
And that's sad. Look, it's Kip Davis. On 2 different channels. And that was Robin's debate. I was like vetting this during Robin's debate, but let's see. There was, I think that's all I wanted to make sure that we covered on this, but let me see if there's anything cute that we can watch real quick. Nosy kiwi. Nerp, 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 nerp. Oh, it's so cute. Did you find some worms? Some grubs? Are they nummy? Aw, you like that? What'd you find? What'd you find, Bubby? Ooh, num num, it's a worm. Yum. Was that good stuff? Yeah, was it? Hi. Hi. All right. So this has been Bree's Bestiary, and I have been talking about kiwis because kiwis are fabulous little birdies. And I'm afraid that future generations might not get to experience them, and it makes me sad. But if you want to save the kiwis, you can subscribe to Save the Kiwi at YouTube. Let's see. Actually, let me pull it back up. This is the channel right here. So, yeah, you subscribe to this channel, Save the Kiwi, and they have videos to help people be... I'm worried about, obviously, most of my audience isn't in New Zealand, but if you are, you know, videos about when your dog goes outside, or, you know... oh, excuse me. Just updates on the conservation status and stuff. You can come out here and check it out. And I'm sure there's donation links if you wanted to donate to the Kiwi. Yeah, but that's been Bree's Bestiary. All right. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, so the channel thing should redirect you all over to Ben's after the outro clip. It should. So you don't have to leave to go over there. You can, but if you want to be part of the raiding party, then just hang out here and it'll transfer you right over. He's just getting started. There'll be like a little countdown and stuff. So yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go have some lunch. Remember to be kind and take care, and we'll see you next week.
This is